Hello, 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 and welcome back to your Nerd of Godcast, that place where Christ culture and nerd culture come together for some sweet, sweet two-player co-op. My name is Tony T, and for the next few minutes, we're going to talk about all those things that make us geek out and give glory to God, but I'm not going to be doing it by myself because tonight we are pleased to bring you round two of the Nerdy Podcasters Collective. I've got some amazing creators, some amazing content producers, some amazing voices and leaders in the Christian nerd podcast community. We're going to be introducing them to you in just a minute, but we want you to be a part of the conversation. You can do that by connecting with us across all the social medias at Nerd of Godcast on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube. You can also send us an email at nerdofgodcast@gmail.com or take a second to swing by our Facebook small group. That's the Nerd of God Squad. Send us a request and we're going to let you in. We're a pretty indiscriminate group. Nerd of God Squad on Facebook. Share some memes and live your dreams. Well, welcome back to the Nerdy Podcast Collective. I want to introduce some of our amazing co-hosts' voices tonight. With me, apparently, as always, from the sunny state of California, would you please show some love and respect to the Christian nerd, Scott Higa?
Love and respect, that's a bit much. I'll settle for one or the other.
Well,
I want people to be scared of how much they love me.
Both.
Okay.
Perfect.
Hello, Tony. Thank you for having me back. As always, I'll do my best not to derail it, which is my natural chaotic evil in inclination.
Well, you know what? I can't ask a bird not to fly, so I would never put anything on you. That was more than you could bear. Moving around the table, we have from the Geeks Under Grace podcast, you know him, you love him, LJ Lowry.
How's it going? I'm glad to be here.
LJ, what? Tell me what your favorite midnight snack is. What's your guilty pleasure?
Anything with peanut butter, really.
I love it. That's the right answer. That is exactly the right answer. Scott, you were eating one of your Reese's eggs from last year's Halloween.
Yes, it was Reese's pumpkin.
Pumpkins. Well, the eggs are from Easter, but you know what?
Still fresh. Out of the freezer, tasted delicious.
The first test. Yes.
No, you turned me on to that. Like, just go to Target after the major holiday and buy the Reese's version of whatever holiday that is.
Yeah.
Throw it in your freezer, and you can enjoy that snack all year long.
I want to put
That's
a pin in that
amazing.
conversation because I don't want to leave the rest of our cast here tonight on standby, but I definitely need to come back to the Target post-holiday candy celebration. And we're going to do this. We're going to do this right. But before we do, let me introduce to you, I'm meeting him for the first time tonight, Matt Williams from the Jeek Nation podcast and the Ring Rust. I didn't know about the Ring Rust.
Yeah, so it's the original Jeek podcast and Breaking Ring Rust. That is our second podcast. So Jeek Nation is the conglomerate of what we do.
Okay.
And, wow.
Can I ask you a question that you probably get all the time? What is a Jeek?
Great question. So a Jeek is my word I coined, taking jock and geek, which is a very different commodity. I was a star athlete growing up all my life. I was basketball, football, baseball, and I was also a big geek. I'm a third generation Trekkie.
Nice.
I was watching anime. I was, comic books. I was just all into geek stuff, and I didn't have friends who could do both. And eventually, I started meeting some people who were into both. And a friend of mine, David, we were having these Jeek conversations, and I said, "Let's record it." So we started recording it in 2016, and still going.
Very cool. LJ, are you a sports guy?
A little bit. I watch a little bit here and there. Not super hardcore, but it's been in my family for a while. So.
And Scotty, I know you like sports.
I do.
We won't hold it against you.
Sorry.
and then the ring, Breaking Ring Rust.
Breaking Ring Rust. You noticed the HBK shirt earlier. That's a pro wrestling podcast that I've been doing with another friend of mine who is also saved, as is my other co-host.
Nice.
And we started that because we met at our old job before they closed our call center. And we found out we were both big wrestling fans. And we were like, I was like, hey, I do a podcast for my group. And hey, I would love to do a pro wrestling show with you. And we started doing that. And our highlight of Breaking Ring Rust was almost a year ago, we had Nikita Koloff on as our guest.
Nice.
Yeah.
The Mad Russian.
The Mad Russian, Nikita Koloff.
Here I go right here. I'm hitting the subscribe button on Breaking Ring Rust, brought to you by Jeek Nation.
That's right.
Well, now I can sleep tonight because I've been wanting to know ever since we started talking last week what a Jeek was, but I couldn't wait. But I was like, I need to wait. I want to have this.
Jock plus geek.
It makes perfect sense. I probably should have guessed. Or I probably should have just subscribed and listened and found out on my own the way that Jesus intended it. But this is not the end of our crew. We also want to welcome. This is again our first time talking face to face from the Infinity Bros podcast. The one and the only Max Mosier.
Thank you so much for having me, guys. Yeah, it's a pleasure to be here. Super grateful. And I'm in a talk with Scott Higa, so I'm going to do my best to behave. I'm going to do my best to be on my best behavior.
Yeah.
I can't guarantee anything, Tony. I'm going to do my best, but I can't guarantee anything.
Scotty, what's the deal with you two?
Well, really, I'm going to date myself. It's really a Sam and Diane, will they, won't they?
Yeah, I was going to say, you're going to date
really
yourself. It sounds like you and Max are about to start dating. I'm not 100% sure.
Sam and Diane, will they, won't they? It's just what it is.
For the kids listening, it's Dwight and Jim. That's what it is. And I'm Jim.
Okay.
I'm the cool one. So, yeah.
That's accurate. I'm not.
Well,
Max
can it
plays
be Jim and Asian Jim. I don't know. Is that okay? Identity theft is not a joke, Jim.
Yes, that's exactly what it is. Yes.
Oh, all right.
Yes,
Well,
it's the Christmas episode with Scott where he says at the end of the day, the best thing about Christmas isn't anything at all. It's fear. And so that's exactly how Scott feels.
Fear of how much you love me. That's what Scott's all about.
He doesn't know how much. He does not handle that love he has for me.
No, and how could he? How could
he?
he?
It's basically, if it were second grade and Max were a girl, I would be chasing around the playground.
Mm-hmm.
Like I don't know what to do with all these feelings I have for him.
That's
dipping
exactly
his pigtails in the inkwells.
Exactly.
And LJ, Geeks Under Grace, we know last time we all got together, we had your friend Cody on the show. He's also from Geeks Under Grace. You guys do some serious ministry stuff. What have you guys been working on lately?
So last year we did some outreach, but this year we've kind of decided to look on the inside and kind of see where we needed work there and looking at ourselves. And so a big one was restructuring on the board of directors. And I have the honor of being the president on the board of directors this year. And right now we've been working on the website. If you guys go to geeksundergrace.com right now, you will see a fresh, nice new website than you did a few weeks ago.
Yeah.
And it had a lot of issues, and it was a lot of outdated stuff. Like the developer of the WordPress theme we were using was no longer supporting it. But now we've kind of done a soft launch. So there's been little things that have changed throughout the last couple of weeks, and it's been awesome. We've had webmasters doing that sort of thing. And we have a shop that's opening soon with some limited run merchandise, which has been cool.
Nice.
But it's really been all about a restructuring, a new giving platform as well, and it's exciting stuff.
Does anybody else get? I'm not making fun. Please don't hear me. But when you guys start talking about board of directors, does anybody else feel like maybe your level of organization for your podcast is somehow lacking?
Yes.
I got me and then some dudes that show up sometimes. And
the chairman of my board is Clara, my 4-year-old daughter, and she is on board with everything that I do as long as I give her cake.
That's right.
So it's an easy board to control.
Well, that was LJ's terms too. I'm the president as long as you give me cake. That's with peanut butter. That's what he's asking.
There you go.
That's all he wants.
But I mean, really, we're more than just a podcast. We have a website, and which we have some great volunteers that write some great articles, and we hope to grow the organization someday in which we can be a full-fledged organization and start to actually pay our writers and become the Christian version of IGN or something.
Nice.
And so that's really what our main thing is. And we also have the Twitch channel and the podcast, and everything else is just extra. So
nice.
You got to realize, Geeks Under Grace, I used to be in that Facebook group, and there's 11,000 strong.
Yes.
It's a bit bigger than a lot of other organizations.
Yes, and I'll be honest, that's one of those things that we had to rework because, we were all learning, and it got so big that it kind of became the Wild West for a while.
Wow.
And so we started having to put some structure, post-approval, and things like that, and really it became better for it. And we did the same with our Discord, and there was just a lot of kind of cleanup we had to do, and we've become better people for it as we've grown over the years. So.
Well, here's me and Scott and our 12 followers just really sympathizing. Our heart is breaking. Oh my goodness,
I lost 2 last week down to 10.
We have 11,000 people. What are we going to do?
Oh man.
Somebody get a president of our organization to say,
Tony, I'm thinking
we need a chairman ASAP.
You need that same message approval for the Nog Squad on Facebook, because I can't handle any more memes.
I know. I'm sorry.
Living my dreams is turned into nightmares with all your memes.
I apologize. I don't know what you want me to do. It's the Wild West out here. Okay. It's just a smaller version of the Wild West.
You don't want the Wild West we had. So just saying, you're good.
Oh man.
Yeah. Listen, I swear, if it gets out of control, I will burn this thing to the ground. I have no problem.
No lie. We probably considered that.
Wow, man.
Well, I'm glad that you survived.
LJ, looks like I'll try to come back to the group. Because I dipped because, like you said, it was getting wild.
Oh my goodness!
Yeah, I'll be honest. It's a much better place to be, and that's the thing is, like, when you do stuff like this, you go into it not really know what you're doing, and you just kind of learn as you go.
Yeah. Now, Max, you're in ministry. Are you you're in full-time ministry?
Yeah. So I'm an area director for Young Life.
Okay.
A nonprofit parachurch organization, you could call it. But I kind of call myself just like a professional community member because I just get to do everything in the community.
Nice.
So I do stuff with church. I do a lot of things with our school. A work night for me is going to the athletic director's house and having some food and pizza with the coaches.
Man,
and that gets to count as work because I'm in the community.
Suffering for Jesus. That's
I'm really struggling there with the free pizza and the free drinks, right?
Pepperoni for
pepperoni for Jesus. So like, I coach football at the school I'm at as well.
Nice.
So I love what Matt's talking about over there. You know, the jock and the geek. I love that. The geek, that's sweet, bro. I love that. So yeah, that kind of describes how I do it out here. Got a really great team around me that just does a great job. I too have a board of directors with my Young Life ministry, but not with my podcast. I hope to be like LJ one day and be that efficient.
Yeah, hang on real quick. Honey, I need a board of directors. Can you?
Scott needs to get some cake real quick.
Make this work.
For his 4-year-old. I'm making cake for the board.
If I told you we knew what we were doing, that would be a lie, because a lot of times we don't.
All right. Well, now I feel better. Well, let's move forward tonight, and hopefully we can figure out a little bit about what we're doing. I put a pin in something earlier on. I just want to talk about it because I don't have anybody else to talk to. Nobody listens to me. But we had somebody come to our church. They run a liquidation store. He's a member of our church, and he basically buys trailers from different retailers like Lowe's or Target, and he never knows what's he going to get. He'll pay for the trailer, they bring it in, and then they'll sell whatever they have. If it's furniture, if it's clothing, if it's used, old DVDs or whatever they have. Well, they bought a trailer from Target. And in that trailer was all, and when I say all, you're hearing me say a lot. What I said was all of Target's Easter candy that didn't sell. And you remember, Easter this year didn't actually happen.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
Jesus
right.
still rose, but nobody went egg hunting, right? Because Our Lady Rona. So it was, when I say a trailer filled with candy, well, they can't sell this at their store, but we have a food bank at our church. So they brought this trailer with probably 3,000 pounds of Target Easter candy to our church. Well, we can't give all of that out because there's no way we could give it out fast enough for it to...
You'd have to start a dentistry ministry as well.
Yeah, right. Exactly. Yeah,
if you're bad, let me lay hands on your teeth.
That's right. Yeah. We'll call it brace yourself. We the fillings of the Holy Spirit.
Tony, what is the dollar amount that you would estimate in this candy?
Well, now that's a very important question.
What number would you say that is?
That's a very important question, Max, because if any of us are aficionados of holiday-themed candy, you know that there are vastly different tiers of candy. So you can get crappy little Palmer eggs that are dollar store quality, You can move up the ladder and get some like semi-good name brand things. We're talking maybe your Starbursty sort of deals or your Brock's jelly beans. And then you can move all the way up the list to your things like your Reese's, your Snickers. Yeah. And then if you really want to go high class, you have your fancy like Godiva and Lindt and all these different things. Mm-hmm. We had we didn't have any Palmer chocolates. Everything we had was like Snickers, Starburst, the Lindor truffles. It was premium.
Wow.
I think the lowest we got was we got a big thing of like Star Wars Pez dispensers. But other than
they're not cheap either.
No, they're not. So it was like, well, guys, we got to give as much of this as we can, but we can't store it here. It took our whole pantry up. So it was kind of like, all right, everybody come in, grab a bag, and grab what you want.
Fill your van.
Sounds like Halloween came early.
Yeah, so we all have diabetes now, and I need you to pray that.
Oh my goodness! You're realistically, Tony, you're talking $5,000-$6,000 at least, right?
I would, if I had to guess, the actual retail price would be in the $5,000 or $6,000.
Yeah, we don't want to do prices right, so let's lowball it. We don't want to go over.
And that, honestly, that sounds a lot low.
Like,
that's a good point.
I used to work for Western Express before Our Lady Rona got me laid off. A trailer full of candy, and if you're talking brand name like Snickers,
right?
If they're in holiday bags, or you're talking $5 to $15 if it's like a big grab bag.
Sure.
And if you're talking 3,000 pounds worth of that, you're looking more into the $20,000 range worth of product, not more.
The Lord giveth, the Lord taketh away. There you go.
That's right. That's right.
Man.
So my blood is entirely made of nougat right now. I just need you guys to understand if I'm a little sluggish tonight, or if I nod off, that's because I've eaten nothing but Reese's eggs for the past 3 weeks. But anyway, so let us know what your favorite Easter candy is on the social medias. We're going to have a great time tonight. We're so glad that you're here. We're still looking. We have one more guy that might be dropping into the party, so if he jumps in, we would love to have him part of the conversation. But if he's not really all about it, then we know where we stand and our friendship is dead. No, that's not true. So tell us as we start out.
I'm really glad I showed up tonight.
The stakes are really high tonight, guys.
Too.
This is do or die.
No.
While we're buying time for him to show up, I'll ask a question that we often ask, and that's, what are you really into, man?
Hey, man. What are you really into, huh?
This is where you guys share a little bit about the things you've been geeking out about lately. What have you been reading? What have you been playing? What have you been watching? And we'll start eeny, meeny, miny, mo. How about Matt Williams?
Oh, my Lord. I was saying, please let me go last because, look, I used to be an associate pastor, okay? I'm a former black preacher. It means I can go on and on and on.
Let me get my fan.
If he takes his watch off and lays it down on the table in front of him, we know we're in trouble.
I grew up in a Pentecostal church.
Come on, brother.
When I really wanted to let the people of my church know that I was going to preach for a long time, I bring a bottle of Gatorade to the pulpit. Let them know it's getting real up in here. So what I am into is a very wide range of things, hence the creation of the Jeek platform.
Sure.
I'm a huge basketball is my favorite sport, but I'm a huge basketball fan. I love football. I follow the Manchester United. I'm Detroit everything for United States sports.
How do you feel about hockey?
I'm from Detroit.
That's what I'm saying. So I just want to point out
I'm a huge Red Wings fan.
Our Tampa Bay Lightning just won the Stanley Cup.
Again, yes.
I'm just saying.
I used to give it a pass because Bill Davidson was the owner, who also previously before he passed away owned the Detroit Pistons. So there was a kindredness to Tampa Bay, as well as Stevie Y working for your organization. But since Stevie Y is no longer there and Mr. Davidson has passed, you are officially the enemy completely again. And honestly, you won a couple Stanley Cups. Okay, big deal. We're an original six team. We are the Red Wings are the Yankees of hockey.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
And I respect it, Matt. Well done.
I know you're going to keep going,
but
I'm going to stop you right there. You keep referring it to you. I'm in the same state as them. I've never seen a Tampa Bay Lightning game. I don't care. I'm so sorry.
Hey,
I'm so sorry.
You sound like
the opposite of a Jeek. I'm just, that's not me. I'll listen to your podcast, man. I'll like, share, and subscribe, but the sports thing is not, it's not my area.
That's okay. Hey,
I'm an indoor kid.
That's what one of my good friends called me the other day and said, hey, you know what? I've been listening to your show. I really love it. Except I get lost in the parts where you talk about gaming because he's not a gamer. But other than that, I love the show. So, we've got a little bit of
something
everything.
for everybody.
Yes.
Well, what have you been geeking out about lately? Like, what have you been watching or reading or playing lately?
Oh, again, that's a loaded question. Okay, so you mentioned all the podcasts. So what I did not mention is I'm creating a third, not a long running podcast, but I'm creating a new podcast featuring my Uncle John, who played in USFL. back in the 80s. He played for the Michigan Panthers, won a championship. So he and two of his teammates agreed to come on and show with me.
Nice.
And we are going to go through and chronicle the 1983 Michigan Panthers championship season. Here, we at Jeek Nation are also creating right now a Battlestar Galactica rewatch.
Okay.
So we rewatched season 1, and we're recording that currently. And I'm leaving something out. There's a group called Love Thy Nerd. Don't know if you're familiar with them.
Yes.
Love Thy Nerd has their own podcast network. I'm a member of the Love Thy Nerd Book Club podcast. We will be recording this Thursday on the latest book we just read.
What was the latest book?
How to Survive a Science Fictional Universe.
Okay.
And very good, by Charles Yu. Very, very good. And I'm forgetting something. Oh, I almost missed this because someone else reached me on Twitter about playing D&D, and they were like, let's talk on Tuesday. So I almost got that Zoom meeting at 2 p.m. this afternoon confused with this Zoom at 9 p.m. So I'm going to be...
I'm glad you didn't. I didn't even bring my dice.
That's funny. I canceled my our D&D night to be here, so... I told the guys, I'm like, hey, I can't play tonight. So
you are a man among
you are.
Look at that.
Well, LJ, then tell us what you're geeking out about lately, LJ.
Okay. So most recently, I geek out about a lot, but the one thing I'm really into right now is a video game called Hades, and it's on Switch. And
yeah, I've seen that promoted.
Yeah, it's on Switch and the Epic Game Store and Steam, and it's from Supergiant Games, and they do a lot of cool indies such as Bastion, Transistor, and Pyre. Yeah. And I have never played a bad game from that company, or just a not good game.
Is the soundtrack as good as Bastion's soundtrack and Transistor's soundtrack?
Yes.
Excellent.
And so it's a roguelike, but it also has a way of advancing the story as you advance through the dungeon of like Tartarus and all these other Greek mythology themed areas. And so basically you play as the son of Hades, who's trying to escape the underworld, and you encounter all these other Greek myth characters, and the way you get upgrades in a run is you get blessings from the Greek gods. So you can get upgrades from like Zeus or Ares and different gods, and you can kind of equip them to different things that your character can do. And so kind of coming up with a great loadout through a run is kind of the idea. And so there's other things you can unlock and upgrade that carry over to the future runs. So it's not like you just totally get wiped clean every time. And but I love the story. I love the animation. The characters are great.
And we know you've been playing that, and that's why we invited you here tonight. This is an intervention for playing games that are idolatrous. And we're worried about your sanctification, LJ, so we need to talk tonight.
That mixed with D&D, I mean, basically.
Yeah,
pretty much.
And I'm going to be honest. I'm old school black dude. Generally, we don't play with the devil like that. But I was like, you know what? I grew up reading Tolkien and C.S. Lewis, and they had the same witches and warlocks and all that stuff. So if I'm not telling a bad story, what's the difference?
Yeah, I get it. Scotty,
my mom wouldn't let me watch Hercules because it had Hades in it.
See?
Just
really?
My mom didn't want me watching.
I think I was an adult when
because,
Hercules.
Yeah,
I wasn't allowed to watch the real Ghostbusters, and I wasn't allowed to watch He-Man because my mom thought Castle Grayskull was satanic.
My mom took me to see that movie in the theater. That's my first movie.
I didn't grow up in a Christian home, so I kind of watched whatever. Like nobody filtered anything I watched. So like,
Yeah.
Apparently, when I was born, my first movie I went to like 4 days in was Silence of the Lambs.
Wow.
So,
wow. They started
take that information as you want about me. I don't know.
So
it explains everything, really.
It's a very dark movie. Wow. All right, Max, since you jumped in there, what have you been geeking out about? What are you really into, man?
Yeah. So a couple of things. I'll go across a couple different spectrums here. The Avengers PS4 game that just came out.
Yes.
I got a copy of this. I love this game. This game is sweet. This game has been absolutely dynamite. It has exceeded my expectations. I know the beta had some mixed reviews on it. The rest of the Infinity Bros that I do my podcast with were giving up and down reviews. So it kind of was swaying whether I was going to purchase it or not. And I just caved and bought it. I'm a pretty big Marvel geek. Man, am I glad I did that.
Nice.
If I was to use our rating system on our show, I'd give it a 6 out of 6.
Wow.
I love this game.
No
it's really, No decimals because Scott's here. We'll see though. There's a couple more things on my list.
I love inside jokes. I hope to have one someday.
Yeah. Scott doesn't like when we do like a 5.357 repeated on our podcast. So anytime we have Scott on, or we know that Scott might listen to it, we make that joke.
It's nice to be in such a position of power in someone's life that they go out of their way to antagonize you, isn't it?
Well, it's also nice to have so much real estate in Scott's head. And if you guys ever want to stay, you just let us know. We'd love for you to just give us a call. We'll plug our show if you can those details later. Batman,
their microphones are like the entrance into his brain, like being John Malkovich. It's amazing.
That's exactly being Scott Higa. That's what it is. Being Scott Higa. I've been reading 2 comics that are both Batman ones and they're both Joker ones, but I've been really pleased. The series Batman Joker War has been coming out every week through DC. Okay. I've really enjoyed this one, man. And there's been some really sweet stuff. Harley Quinn's been a good guy in it. That's been really fun to read. Is it the best run for Batman? No, it's another, Joker's taking over the city and, he's got to stop him and he's taking away all his stuff. It's classic narrative from Batman. So it's nothing crazy out of this world. But I've really enjoyed the series. A good Batman Joker mess around's good. The one that really has been fascinating was the graphic novel series Batman Killer Smile that just came out. I absolutely love this. And in fact, while I'm talking about this, I'm going to pull up the author and make sure I credit them in this.
Nice.
This one came out of nowhere for me. I read all my comics digitally, and so I found this one online. This was from Jeff Lemire, Andrea Sorrento, and Jordi Belair. And this is a great one. It talks about a psychiatrist who's working with Joker and his descent into madness. Okay. And it's haunting, it's crazy. And if you're a Batman Joker fan, that's the one to read out of these 2 in my opinion.
Wow.
Joker War is just another one, but Batman Killer Smile, man, this one is dynamite. I loved it. And it has a great part with Batman at the end with a twist that I really enjoyed.
Is it an ongoing series? Is it a series or is it like a trade paper?
So the Joker War has been an ongoing series. I believe the newest one just came out, and I haven't read it yet as of today. But Batman Killer Smile, you can get it all in one graphic novel.
Okay, cool.
I think it's like $20 online. It's so good though. Nice. I might buy a hard copy of it. I really like it.
Just shifting over to Scotty and seeing what you've been all about, man.
Well, Max was talking about Avengers, which made me sad because I too purchased it and have yet to play it. So
I liked it as well. I have it on Xbox, and
me too. I bought it and it freaking hasn't played it once.
I'm not trying to. There's no tooting of my own horn here, but Scott just had a birthday this week, and I got him a gift card for the Nintendo eShop, and now I'm realizing that was probably a waste.
I didn't know we were yet at that level in our relationship. So coming up November, I gotta set some money aside in that old budget to.
Please do. Yeah, please do.
So it should be more than what he gave him to, Scott.
Yeah, you don't have to spend anything on me, Scott. You can just send me one of your Captain Marvel hot toys that you didn't have to pay for. I'm just saying.
Anyway, I love inside jokes. One day I hope to have one with somebody. So I bought the Avengers. I haven't played it yet. I did buy recently. I bought Ring Fit Adventure.
Oh, nice.
Because it's been way too hot to go running in the evening at where I live. And so I'm like, I need some amount of exercise. So I bought the Ring Fit, and it's kind of fun. You just like squeezed it and like pew pew stuff. So that was kind of cool.
I'm so glad this is a video conversation.
I know, right? I forget that, and then I'm making all these faces that people are going to be able to watch later on.
Yeah.
Yes.
So Matt, I'm not a sports guy, right? But people that are sports guys always try to tell me like the secrets to this is how you will have to watch sports. If you don't like it, here's your window to the magic. And we were watching an NBA game, which is basketball for people like me that don't know. And he was saying, don't worry about all the things that are happening. Just pick 2 guys and focus on them and focus on their interaction back and forth and the story that they're telling and the way that they press and defend. And he was just trying to get me interested in the theater of the gameplay. Okay. That's what people need to be watching in this video episode. Be watching Scott and Max. Every time Max talks and Scott just leans back and rolls his eyes.
Yep.
You can't see my eyes.
Yeah.
Oh, there we are.
So I've also been always there. And I've been trying to power through the Clone Wars so that I can be ready for The Mandalorian. And I'm in the middle of season 3. I don't think I'm going to make it, but I'm doing my best.
I just finished the Clone Wars.
I know.
Nice.
And it was really good. It was really good. It made me, as I shared on the Infinity Bros podcast last week, I thought I wouldn't like the Clone Wars because I didn't like the prequels, and it actually worked the opposite way. Liking the Clone Wars makes me want to go back and re-watch and appreciate the prequels in a new way. So definitely worth doing. So I've also been playing a game called What the Golf on the
I've
Switch.
heard that's fun.
It's really frustrating and surprisingly fun. So.
It's with all the weird physics, right? And you just like swing and things bounce around.
Well, it starts out as a golf game and then immediately becomes not a golf game. Sometimes it's about hitting a golf ball. Sometimes it's about flinging your own body towards a pin. Sometimes a level might just be a cheap knockoff of Flappy Bird. You just never know what you're going to get. Everything is so random. So, yeah.
Is that a free game, Tony, or you got to pay for that?
No, I think I paid $15 for it, which on the surface would seem like it's too much. But now that the sting of the purchase is gone, I can casually enjoy playing it. It's a nice filler between bouts of Animal Crossing.
Would you recommend it?
I would recommend it if you like fun games that will make you smile to yourself. Yeah, there's also a party game aspect to it, but I wasn't thrilled with that. But
I really like unfun games that make me feel bad about myself, so I don't feel like I'm the target market.
So you might like Dark Souls.
Right? That's the one that's really evil and hard, right? Yeah, that would be right up my alley.
Now, by way of confession, I think I meant to buy Golf Story.
Oh.
And I accidentally bought What the Golf. Whatever. It all worked out in the end. So it's just a few bucks, and I got a lot of room on my Switch memory card. So let us know about what you are really into lately by hitting us up on whatever social media you want to. You can find me, and let's just share this real quick, because normally we wait till the end of the show to do this, but by God, who knows who's going to make it to the end of the show. So you can hit me up at It's Me, Tony T on Twitter. LJ, where can we find you on the internet?
You can find me on Instagram and Twitter at WarHeroLJ, which is also my screen name on all of my consoles and devices that I play games on.
Scotty, where can people find you?
At Scott Higa.
Matt.
Yeah, I really got to get that whole congruent name thing.
My Twitter name was not available. The one name I have on everything, some jerk has it on Twitter. I'm sure he's a lovely person, and the Lord loves him so much. But
the Lord loves him, but we don't have to. Actually,
I wish he would just get convicted in his heart and say, I'm off social media. I'd be like, joink, I got it. So give us your favorite one, or give us a couple of them. Where can we find you?
I'll just give you two. Instagram, magic_, and on Twitter, at _rockin' Mr. Magic. No G in the rockin'. So rockin' Mr. Magic. Those are the easiest ones to find me on.
I got to write down where the underscores were on that one. So it's not easy until I can actually find you.
Yeah, underscore on the back in Instagram, underscore in the front on Twitter.
Gotcha.
I like the underscores, but I don't know why.
Max, where you at?
Yeah, you can go to theinfinitybros.com. We're in the same boat, Matt. Don't feel bad. Apparently, Infinity Bros is like a super popular thing that people who only want 4 followers want to use and keep. It happens on every platform. There's like 5 of them. So we've actually sent things to Twitter to try to get that name, and we still haven't been able to get it. So I won't even try to describe the Twitter or Instagram name. Just go to theinfinitybros.com. A link to everything is from there.
There you go. Cool. Well, we're going to play a game real quick, and we can do this one of two ways. Would you guys consider yourself Star Wars fans of a high level, more casual Star Wars fans? Where are you on the galaxy far, far away spectrum?
Very casual.
Okay.
Right, you are casual, man.
I'm a filthy casual.
I'd say mid for me. Like I'm not one of those people that's read all of like the previous books and everything. I've played a lot of the games and consumed some other content, but like not like extreme.
Okay, I can take this one of two ways. So tonight the way that I have this is basically it's a minor leagues game. I'm going to show you a photograph of a Star Wars character who is not a main character. There is no Luke, no Leia, no Han. It is not a secondary character.
So
it is not a secondary character. There's no Chewie, no 3PO, no Grand Moff Tarkin. These are like deep dive tertiary characters at best. And what we're going to do, because I can see the panic in your eyes, is we're going to play this minor league Star Wars game, and I need you to write down the name of the character that I am showing you.
Oh, man.
However,
that's why you wanted the dry erase.
Wrong answers only.
Oh, very
Oh.
good. Very good. Very good. Very good.
Best wrong answer gets the point.
Oh,
I
thank
am
goodness.
I am the sole judge. So
Well, that feels. I'm going to be just fine then.
I
That
feel
makes
a
me
lot
feel
better
better.
now.
yeah, so we'll see what we can do here. We'll try to make this thing work, and I'll see if I can figure out a way to share the screen successfully. God bless my ministry. So here we go, round one, and boom.
Oh man, you actually know this one.
Wrong answers only. Matt,
Hmm.
give you guys a quick second. Looks like she's grinding up some avocados or kiwis or something to go with the blue milk. This is your time to show how clever and brilliant you are. So I will stop this in 3, 2, 1, and boom. Okay, so what do we got? Let's start with LJ.
I do not have an answer. My Sharpie is dead, apparently.
Dead Sharpie.
Sharpie.
Dead Sharpie is your answer now. Okay, so we have Dead.
That's a horrible
Dead
vet's name.
Sharpie?
Never take your.
I got a
No, you're
pen
thinking
here.
you're thinking Dead Sharpay.
Oh,
It's a
sorry,
different-
my bad.
It's a different
I
animal.
got a pen here. I think this will work.
All right, so we'll give you a second to gather yourself. Scotty, what's your wrong answer?
You can't see that. It says Owen Lars.
Very close. It's very,
Oh, the
very close.
Owen. Okay.
All right, Matt, what do you got?
Mon Mothma.
Okay. All right, and Max.
I'm going with the crazy wrong answer, Aunt May.
Aunt May. Very good. LJ, what do
I
you got?
told you, I'm shameless. I'll go with it.
I wrote Grandma.
Grandma. Yes,
Grandma.
classic grandma. Very good. Very good.
All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and give that point to Max for making me laugh. So very good. All right, here we go with round 2.
We're gonna admit we know who she is, though, right?
Yeah, who is she?
That's on Baru.
That's very good. All right.
Yeah, we're going to totally admit we know who that is. Yeah, that's who it was. Matt
You
was
didn't know
right.
who that was,
Well,
Max?
Dude, I don't know Star Wars. I
You
told
are
you that.
casual.
I was trying
I'm
to help you out,
casual.
Max. I was trying to cover it.
Yeah,
All right,
yeah.
here we go. The next one is boom.
Oh,
Got it?
Ooh.
I love him.
Hmm.
Why don't you marry him? Huh? Remember, wrong answers only.
Oh, man. I don't know where to go with this.
So you're not only getting points for a potential knowledge or lack of knowledge of Star Wars. You're getting
Right.
judged on your creativity and quick-wittedness.
Right.
And I assure you, the world is judging you.
All the time.
We're too late. We're
time.
too late on that. We've gone too far now.
I mean, we
On my
are
end.
surrounded by a cloud of
It's
witnesses.
done now for me. It doesn't matter.
All right. And stop. All right. So what do we have for you? LJ, you're up first this time.
I don't know if you can see that, but I have picked
Yeah.
Maverick.
Maverick.
That's a
Okay.
Top Gun reference.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I hadn't
Reference
seen,
acknowledged.
Reference acknowledged. Gotta turn- That's a negative, Ghost Rider. Scotty, what you got?
I put Wedgie.
Wedgie. Mhm. That's what they all called him at the academy. Matt.
Admiral Akbar.
Yes, it's a trap.
Clever.
And Max.
I've got the White Ranger in the Falcon Zord. That's what I've got.
That's true. Yeah, but we wanted the wrong answer. So,
Oh, sorry. I'm sorry. I apologize. My bad.
all right. I'm going to go ahead and give it to Max one more time just because
That's good.
it delights me how much it makes Scott mad.
Max
I'm
is
going to
running.
play-
I'm
I'm going to
happy for
play-
Max.
I'm going to play up the bid as much as I can.
Nice. Round 3.
Scott's here giving right answers. I mean, what are we supposed to do about that?
I don't know.
Now remember, be creative. Think outside the box. If you make me laugh, you're going to get a point. Or if you make me think.
Ooh, it's a podcast. Nobody wants to think.
That's true.
That's true.
Entertain me, clown.
You know, this is going to be great for the people that are listening to the audio version of this. Everyone, please fast forward to
You'll have
insert
to do like
time
the.
signature
You'll
here.
have to do the listener aided, the hearing aided one, where you describe what people
That's
are
right.
saying.
And
Use your voiceover voice. Like,
And now they're looking at a boxy droid from the planet of Tatooine.
At this point, on the sandy hills of Tatooine, what appears to be a trash can who is mating with a lunchbox with Big Bird's legs.
This is what happened to Big Bird in the year 1335.
All right, what do we have? We'll let Max go first this time.
I've got Mystery Science Theater 3000.
That's
what
There
I
you go.
Bro!
Tom Servo. Scotty.
DJ Roomba in the house!
Nice.
Oh, DJ Roomba. Very good.
Matt Williams.
Oscar the Grouch.
Yes. It's not easy being gonk. LJ.
It reminds me, so I wrote down Apple II, like an old junky computer.
Oh, that is a good one, LJ. Well done.
You guys are getting good at this game.
I loved playing Carmen Sandiego on that droid. It was my favorite thing to do in 15th grade.
Me and my walking apple II used to love to go down the Oregon Trail.
That's why I don't go to Tatooine
But I hated
anymore.
when it caught dysentery and died. I was very sad.
Never coming back to this Oregon Trail. All right, I'm going to give it to Scotty because the DJ Roomba made me laugh.
Yeah, that was good.
LJ, I do not agree with his take. Yours was the best in my opinion. Anything where Scott gets an answer, I'll just go ahead and credit it to a different person.
Guys, Max has another hot take. Come on.
LJ.
Here we go. Boom.
Oh, man.
Let's see.
A character who was in the original trilogy and returned for the new trilogy.
Which nobody asked for.
Well, nobody asked for Matt Parkman from Heroes to show up in the new trilogy, but there he was.
My God, Parkman's and everything.
It pays to be friends with JJ.
That's
Yes,
all I'm
because-
saying, man.
That's what he's most famous for.
How would you describe this to the audience, Tony?
Well, okay, imagine that you've gone to your favorite Chinese restaurant and ordered a wonton, but it came out super soggy and had giant ears on it.
Mhm.
Imagine you caught a catfish that was swimming near a nuclear power plant. Also, is that a helmet or is that his hair? Is it like
Part of it is
I think it's a helmet.
That's a hat. That's a hat.
Never
That's
understood Solistins and
It's a space yarmulke.
The
Shalom Aleichem.
imagination on that one is very impressive.
Yeah, very nice. All right, let's see what we got. We'll go with Matt first.
Mac and me.
That's good.
Well done.
He wins. He wins. Just give it to
All right,
him.
let's go to the fifth one.
Okay, no.
I think we're done.
I got to see what everybody else has out of fairness, but that's the one to beat, you guys.
No, man.
LJ, what you got,
I
man?
wrote fish stick.
Okay, that's not bad. I'll take it.
That's awesome.
Scotty?
current day Meg Ryan.
Whoa! Bro!
Hold on.
Oh, Scott.
That deserves sound effects. I mean, come on.
Out of nowhere, Scott. Well done.
Dang it,
Well
man.
played. Oh,
It
man.
only hurts because I was in love with her in her
Oh,
Sleepless in
man.
Seattle days.
Yeah, those days were a long time ago.
Much
Max,
like
what do
her
you-
face.
I'm not even,
Mom.
I'm not even
Picture
close
of
to
her
everybody
now.
else. I've got Kermit the Frog, but
Yeah,
I've got
that's-
nowhere near everybody
No, it's
else.
good. It's not easy being green, but
Oh,
I got to
man.
give it to
Wow.
Mac and me.
Holy moly, Mac and me. What a play. Well done, Matt.
All right. Let's
That does look like Meg Ryan.
Oh, poor
I'm
Meg
gonna-
Ryan. I mean, she's still banking on the when Harry met Sally days.
That's all I'm saying.
Oh,
I will
man, that's
not
good.
have what she's having.
I just looked it up and I was like, it does.
All right, I'm gonna skip a couple here because this game's gonna go on all night long. Not that we couldn't do this all night long, but let's get into it. All right, here we go. How about this boy right here? He's a pretty boy. This is not the Taika Waititi version. Would that it were. Taika Waititi, by the way, he's in everything now, right?
He just makes everything.
Yeah.
Shows up and there he is.
He's like, "Do you want to make this? Can I be in it too?" Sure, go for it.
You know, that's going to be my pitch because I'm in like, look, I got this movie I need to be produced. Look, make it. You can be in it. You can be whoever you want. Let's just make it.
Yeah. Oh, it's like Tyler Perry. Well, we're gonna dress you up as a woman. That's fine.
Yeah, he loves that.
Just put me in it. Hallelujah.
Oh, however, I'm not going to be mad. Tyler Perry calls me up and says, I want to make your show.
Oh,
Okay.
Tyler Perry has a warehouse that has nothing but a money printing machine in it. That's all it is.
For real.
Prints money.
I'm waiting for the opportunity to sell out. Like anybody, let me know.
Everybody's got a price. Everybody's going to pay.
That's what Ted DiBiase said. Everyone's got a price.
He was right then, and he's still right. All right, so let's see what we got here for this pretty boy. Scotty, you're up.
I just said HomePod.
That's good.
All right, LJ.
Bounty Hunter Echo Dot.
So very
I
similar.
like it.
Max.
I've got Alpha 5.
There you go. That's a good one.
And Matt.
That's where Max is. That's his sweet spot. Power Rangers.
Yeah, he's going for the Power Rangers thing. I heard this
just
about
playing,
him.
We're here. We got to play the bit.
And Matt.
Johnny 5.
Oh, that's great.
Hey,
That's a
I'm
good one.
giving it to Matt again. There,
That's a good one.
That's a good answer, Johnny 5. Matt, listen, Max, I was on your show and I got a Power Rangers question. You guys were asking me all these questions, and I'm not a Power Rangers fan. So
I asked you the Power Rangers question.
I know you did. I'm
Okay,
aware of
just
that,
making sure.
which is why I'm bringing it up to you.
Good.
But I did try to give the best and most respectful answer that I could. In the Green Ranger is my favorite Power Ranger.
Yeah, and you were right.
Thank you. That's all. I just live to be
Being
right.
right
That's
is the most important thing.
very important to me. All right, now this has got the potential for being a little hurtful here, but it's time for us to get real on this show tonight. Who is this guy? Wrong answers only. Right now, the first presidential debate is happening as we're talking this evening. I don't know what's happening on that debate, but I did just get an animated GIF texted to me of, "Hi, I'm Bobby Newport." So whatever it is, it must be good.
You voted for yourself, Leslie? I don't think you can do that.
But I really wanna. I just
Bobby
wanna. Let me do it. All right. Give you guys about 3 more seconds, and 2, and 1, and we're clear. All right, beautiful people. What do we have? Max, wow us.
Well, we're going to go a little edgy. We're going to go fat. That's what we're going to go.
I love this.
Ewoks, it's what's for dinner. The other one.
Get in my belly.
That's not a moon.
That's not the moon. That's a cookie. Get in my belly.
Oh, see, we're going hurtful right
Well
off
played.
the bat.
Well played.
Well played. All right, Scotty, what you got?
You want hurtful? I put present day Val Kilmer.
Yeah, that's
But
accurate.
unfortunately, it's not wrong.
Yeah.
Oh, I think I just got a cramp in my side. Ow. Okay. All right.
Ooh,
He
not wrong.
was Mad Mardigan, sir. Show some respect.
He was also Doc Holliday. Yeah, let's be
I
respectful.
am literally wearing.
Yeah, you're wearing it right now. But he was literally Doc Holliday. He's wearing it.
Oh, that's brilliant.
Yeah,
You put on the Doc Holiday 15
yeah.
about 12 times.
I'm still your Huckleberry.
I'm sure.
Yeah,
Okay.
just put down the Huckleberry Pie, Val. Come on, man.
Wow. Matt Williams.
Pork rinds in space.
LJ.
Okay, so I got a bit of an explanation for this one. So
Please do.
It looks like he's kind of nodding out. So I wrote me at the movies because if it's a slow movie, I'm nodding out.
Okay. That's maybe true. Not the funniest thing I've heard tonight. But
No.
it's okay.
That was an attempt at roasting myself, and it didn't work. So
LJ watching Titanic.
I felt it in his soul when I saw that picture. I was like, I know, bud.
That's I can see it too. You know why? He just ate all of the Target Easter candy.
There you go.
Just jumped in that X-wing. As a large man myself, I sympathize with Jack Porkins, but
So, here's the thing. George Lucas goes to all this effort to come up with the most ridiculous names in the galaxy.
Yeah.
Then he's got this one fat guy with a neck beard squeezed into a tiny little set. He's like, what the heck is Jack Pig. Okay, Porkins. I was just
Right.
a bit on the nose, Georgie.
Insensitive.
do you know
Insensitive.
what the guy's name is in real life?
Jack
Mike
Porkins.
Porkins?
That wouldn't fly in 2020.
His name is William Hootkins, all right, which sounds like a Star Wars name, but this is how much George Lucas hates William Hootkins. He also played one of the Army personnel in the movie Raiders of the Lost Ark, where
Yes.
his name was Major Eaton.
Oh.
Wow.
If I'm lying, I'm crying. It's
Wow.
Did he hire him just to insult him?
just to insult him. Yeah. He was, I mean, Jack Porkins, Major Eaton. Yeah. By the time Howard the Duck came along, he was just a background character named Tubba Lard. That was all
Oh,
it was. All right, so let's keep this party going, and let's hope we can get it over pretty quickly here. All right, who is this? Wrong answers only, and it won't pop up because my computer is of the devil. Here we go. Oh, it
I'm
won't
playing
pop
that game
up.
LJ was playing.
It's the wrong file format. So here we go. Wrong answers only. Boom.
I got a good one.
I bet you it's the same one as mine too, LJ.
I feel like I know where you guys are going too with it, actually.
Yeah, I think we're on the same.
Yeah, so I'm not gonna go that way. I'm gonna try to go a different way and just let you have the moment.
Okay.
It looks like Marty McFly went too far into the future and he's ready to call him a slacker. That's what I'm getting the vibe. It's like the Strickland 2000.
Yes, that's exactly the Strickland 2000.
All right.
Oh, that's good.
Shotgun and all.
Stopping the share and let's get some answers here. LJ, you're up.
I wrote down Daft Punk.
Daft Punk. Oh, Daft Punk. Yeah.
He's got the headphones.
And he's up all night to get lucky. That's
Yeah.
he's okay. With the Ugnaughts, unfortunately, because that's all you got on Bespin. But all right, Scotty Higa.
Locutus of Borg.
Okay.
There it is.
Max.
There it is.
I've got Mr. Clean. We're gonna go Mr. Clean.
Okay. All right.
That is a good one.
Insulting fat people and bald people. Thank you so much for coming, Max. You're
I feel
done.
like Mr. Clean was bald by choice.
You think so?
Yeah, he shaved it.
Listen, if
Yeah.
I could come off that sexy by being bald, I'd shave the rest of mine too.
Yeah, I mean, him and Picard. I mean, those are kind of like the standard for bald guys, right? Like,
That's true.
I mean, that's the standard. But
For bald
it's not
and
bad
blue.
being bald.
I don't know. I can't say the standard. I mean, I think of bald guys. There's so many. I'm thinking of Michael Jordan. Thinking
True.
you
Oh,
know
that's a very good point.
George Foreman. Those guys.
Yeah. MJ is the standard.
Yeah, he's the bald standard.
Wait.
He's
So
the
you
bald
saw
standard.
the bald standard. I mean, I thought we were kind of talking about like bald sexiness, attractiveness. Did you throw George Foreman in there?
He'll grill you some meats.
That's what I was saying. At this point, we're not talking about bald-headed. We're talking about a commanding presence. We're talking about cook me food, and we're talking about clean my house. That's what a woman wants, right?
Well, wait, no. He also is taking you to Meineke and getting that car fixed. and women find money sexy. So
Very good point.
George has
true.
got a lot of it.
Money
That's
can
right.
pay for a lot of cleaning things to happen around the
That's
house.
all I'm
Right.
saying. DJ Roomba in the mix. Matt, what you got?
I also had Locutus of the board.
Oh, did you?
Right on.
I'm sorry, Matt.
No,
There
it's
you go.
okay.
I
In
stayed
your
away
defense,
from it. I just want it to be
Great
said.
LJ took my answer, so I stole your answer.
All right, we'll give the point to LJ. Thank you. Very good. And let's do like three more. Gosh, these guys are so ugly. Some of them. I mean, I'm not trying to call them out, but yeah, definitely I am. So here we go, and boom.
Oh boy.
Yeah. This is why they say it's not easy being green.
Mm-hmm.
It's not even a flattering picture of her. That's the problem.
All right, I got one.
It's the kind of photo that you take of somebody and they're like, "Are you going to post that?" No, delete it. Retake it.
Yeah.
Like what? Like what filter can make me look like one of the ghoulies? And we're clear. All right, so back to you guys. Let's see what we got. Matt, you're up.
Breaking Bad Kermit.
Okay.
Oh, yeah, there you go.
That's what happens when you do meth, kids. You end up with
not even once. Not even once. Max, talk to us.
I got Betty White.
Oh,
Wow, Betty White may come actually over there and knock you out, though.
That's what I'm saying. She got
Nah,
that
she'll
meme.
outlive me. I'm not worried about it.
LJ.
I wrote down Stripes from Gremlins.
That's true. Yeah. Don't feed him after
Very
midnight.
good.
That movie scared me when I was younger.
It was a scary movie. There's no
It was
question.
supposed to be.
Yeah.
Got
it too hottie.
We have Baby Yoda, but we also have Tadpole Yoda. in there.
Oh. All right. Okay.
Looks like one of Kermit's cousins or whatever.
Keep explaining it. It'll get funnier.
Yeah, well.
Wop, wop, wop.
Max.
Hey. I'll embrace it.
Max. What
We
was
can't
your,
all be winners.
Right.
Max? What was yours again?
Betty White.
Betty White. I'm gonna give you Betty White. It made me laugh.
Good one.
All right, and let's just.
But don't forget Matt's important lesson: don't do meth.
Well, that's true. That's true. Betty White says, "Say no to drugs." All right, and we'll do one last one right here because I'm already bored with this game. And boom.
Hmm.
Isn't that Quadraneros?
It is. No, this is what Michael Jackson would have looked like had he been allowed to live.
That's what Mike would have looked like if he played Jar Jar. Oh.
Misa said, "Hee hee." That was my Jar Jar Jackson.
Yes.
All right. Wasn't that
There were
good?
so many. There were so many things.
Eddie, are you okay? Get it? All right.
I crack up every time I see that movie.
I'm sorry. I just made myself laugh. That was funny.
There are so many roles that Michael Jackson wanted to have in Hollywood. I'm so glad he did not get.
I remember back in 1989 when Tim Burton's Batman came out that he was pushing to be Robin in the sequel.
Oh yeah.
He was pushing to be, but you know who got cast as Robin?
Marlon Wayans.
Yes, and you know he gets paid residuals for that movie that he never appeared
Shut
in?
up. Are you
Yeah.
for real?
Yes.
That's
Good
crazy.
for him.
Yeah, that
Seriously,
that
good
is-
for him, for real.
That's an agent who did you right.
Yeah.
That's right.
Paid for a movie you never appeared in.
That's right. Very, very good. Like that. Well, it was, and just like that movie, The Marine, with John Cena. I didn't see him one time in that whole movie.
I haven't seen John Cena since never.
That's right.
Since the prototype just disappeared one day. And
Just gone. All right, we're gonna stop this bad boy and bring it back. What is that character's name? Wrong answers only. Scott and Clara Higa.
That character's name is. I gotta go do some bedtime. I will be back when it's over.
Okay, good. Put some clothes
Have
on
a
your
great
kid.
show without me.
Okay. All right. LJ.
I wrote down MODOK. Big head, small body.
Dude,
That's
LJ,
good.
no joke. Same thing, bro.
Wow,
Same
right
exact
on,
thing.
dude. Yeah.
Throw it away. It ain't gonna
There we
matter.
Matt,
If you get to first.
if you don't have the MODOK hat trick, I'm greatly disappointed.
I don't have the MODOK hat trick. I was thinking MODOK, but then I said, you know what? That looks like Race for Your Life, Charlie Brown to me.
Oh, wow.
That's a good one.
I love that. We'll let the score split between LJ and
It took
Max
me a
for
while
me.
to get there, but
I'm going to give you an extra point, Matt, for making my heart sing with
That was
Race for Your Life, Charlie Brown.
Oh, I
And that means that everybody, I believe, is a winner tonight because I was not actually keeping score.
There you go.
This
Like,
is
whose
this
line
is
is it anyway?
Hey.
yeah, this has been the minor leagues. Wrong answers only. We're going to get into talking about Star Wars in just a minute. But before we do, because, hey, we're all here and just chatting a little bit and we're all nerdy. Did you guys see the news that Avatar is done filming?
Yes, we
Avatar
talked about
2?
it on our podcast this week in the news. So
If it wasn't in my Facebook feed, I wouldn't have known.
Avatar 2 is completely done filming. Avatar 3 is 95% done filming. The only question I have for you guys is, was anybody asking for Avatar 2 or 3?
Well, no, because no one rewatched Avatar 1. And no one cared
Well
to
said.
rewatch. No one cared to rewatch. I mean, Avatar made a ton of money,
Yeah.
but it made the most money for a movie that no one ever watched again. Like people watched, and I talked to people about Avatar, and they forget because they saw it once,
Mhm.
and all they remember is they saw some naked blue people,
Mhm.
and that reminded them of Fern Gully.
It
And
was like the
that-
director's cut of the Smurfs.
yes,
yeah,
exactly. And no one else remembers anything about the movie. No one rewatches that movie.
Yeah.
And when you say Avatar, they think of The Last Airbender. They're not thinking about naked blue people.
Mm-mm. You're right. I concur. And it didn't even occur to me that I've never rewatched it. Now, it was a beautiful movie. I saw it 3D IMAX, enjoyed the experience, but yeah, I never watched it again.
Yeah,
How do they make
replayability,
$2 billion if nobody saw it a second time?
which is highly impressive.
Yeah.
The other part that we're like missing in all this too is like, I'll believe it when I see it. We've been talking about this movie for years.
Yes.
Like they've been talking about this movie coming out for so long. I don't even know if I buy that they're done filming. I think they're just saying it as
it's
as
like the Kingdom Hearts 3 of movies.
Oh my god!
No, it's not. It's worse than that.
You're gonna get me going, LJ. Calm down now.
It's worse than that, LJ. This is like what's going to come out first, Avatar 2, or will Dr. Dre finally drive Detox? Like,
You're right.
Like that's just this never going to happen.
Yeah, you're right.
I'm chuckling at that reference as if I understand it. So it's kind of like we're waiting for Half-Life 3 or Avatar 2.
Yes, there you go. Half-Life 3 is a good reference.
But like they built this was I was befuddled at this. You know, I live in Orlando, Florida, and we have an entire Avatar theme park here. At Disney's Animal Kingdom. There's rides and there's specialized like themed food restaurants where you can go eat what they would eat on Pandora, because I was up all night dreaming like, I wonder if we'll ever be able to walk down the glowing paved roads of the planet on this movie that I saw once. And I thought, that's a little cart before the horse, isn't it? But they're like, no, we're going to make 5 more, you guys. And
I'm
I'm
like,
like,
there, Tony, have you been to that?
I have.
Okay.
Yeah.
I went there this last January, and it's pretty amazing, but I didn't remember any of it from the show and the movie. I mean, excuse me.
No.
Now, I will. It doesn't make any sense to me that they're pushing it down our throats because they know they're going to make 5 movies.
Sure. And
right?
That's the thing. It's like, what are you guys, the God's Not Dead franchise? Like, what are you trying to do to us?
Oh my gosh!
Nice.
Oh my!
Wow!
Like, how many of these are you going to make before you realize we don't care?
So in reference to God's
Hey,
Not Dead,
come on now. Kevin Sorbo needs another paycheck, yo.
No,
Kevin
he
Sorbo, he died
doesn't.
in the first one. Spoiler alert.
You see how many of them I've seen. Wait, I'm sorry.
Kevin
Clarissa
Sorbo will not rest until they bring back Hercules.
Right?
Oh.
Or Clarissa explains it all that she's in both of them or all 3 of them or something like
I
that.
know she's in the second one. It's a completely
Did she die
different.
too?
I don't know. Nobody watched the second one.
Okay. I didn't see the first one, so.
Yeah, I watched it. We watched it in the youth group when I was a youth pastor, and it was.
I was too busy watching Left Behind, the third re-edition.
Wait. The third one with
Nick Cage, of course.
Oh no, that was the reboot.
The Nick Cage reboot.
Yeah. Okay. The third one had oh my goodness, who was the guy from Iron Eagle? The bald guy was the president.
Lou Gossett Jr.
Lou Gossett Jr. was in the third one.
Yes.
So yeah, with Kirk Cameron. The Kirk Cameron one were delightful, but the Nicolas Cage one was like any other Nicolas Cage movie. It was nonsensical and maddening to watch.
You mean Jesus Con Air? Oh yeah. Great.
Yes.
that's great.
That's all I want to say. I'm sorry, LJ. I think you were saying something. Somebody was saying something about God's Not Dead.
I was just going to say that, like God's Not Dead, is they're making another one because they know people are going to be suckers and go watch it. So,
well, at the risk of not pandering to our listening audience, Christians will pretty much buy anything that has Jesus' name written on it, whether it's good or not.
True.
But with no disrespect, I really only watched the first one because it had a cameo from the Newsboys in it. But anyway. Star Wars fans, do we love it? Are we in love with Star Wars, or are we burnt out? Are we done with Star Wars? Because Twitter would have me believe that you can only be one of 2.
Wow. I'll go with LJ since I didn't get where I fall. I am on the not high, but I'm like between medium and high. So I've seen all the movies. I didn't like all the movies. I haven't finished Clone Wars yet. I've played most of the video games. I do have a bunch of Star Wars memorabilia behind me, but I'm a 3rd-generation Trekkie, so Trek over Star Wars, so I can't claim to be the high.
That's a hot take.
It's the only take.
Scotty, are you Trek over Star Wars, Scott Higa?
I feel like that's a false dichotomy. So
you can't serve 2 masters, son. What are you going to do?
Yeah, I serve Jesus.
You got to pick one or the other.
What master do you serve? Who do you want me to say? Jesus,
Lucas or Roddenberry? You have to pick one.
I bow at the temple of Kevin Feige, if I was being honest. But I would always say Shanine, the Hoot and Howl, yesterday asked on Twitter, kind of what's your earliest nerdy memory? And mine is seeing Return of the Jedi with my cousins when I was almost 4 years old. So Star Wars got me into this nerdy life. It has been and continues to be my first love, but that does not mean there's not space in my heart for a new Final Frontier or any other nerdy thing. But I would say Star Wars is my first love.
Oh, see, I answered the same question from Shaheen, and mine was my mom controlled the remote. She watched Star Trek, so I had to watch Star Trek.
Awesome.
I fell in love with Star Trek.
Cool.
We actually invited Shanine to be here and be part of this conversation tonight, but she had to be somewhere else. So I'm not answering her question just on principle of spite.
Because she
It's her
turned me
question.
down.
That's right. I don't
It's
handle
her
rejection very
question.
well.
No, thank you.
Uh,
What? It's interesting you asked this, Tony, because from my perspective, obviously, I am the lowest level Star Wars fan on this show, and probably out of all the shows represented on this episode tonight. But I would say that, and we'll get into this, the Disney Star Wars movies were bad. That last one especially was bad, in my opinion.
Really?
Don't say that too loud, because the Raylo.
I know, man. I know how they are. And I got buddies on the Infinity Bros podcast that are going to come out of nowhere and be grouchy with me. But I really think, especially episode 9, incredibly disappointing. And I know the things like the Clone Wars show, but also the video games have really been doing a great job. Those video games, I've watched a lot of the streams that my buddies Zane and Isaac from the Infinity Bros were doing. Those games are remarkable and fantastic from what I can tell. It just seems like it's 3 different kind of genres of Star Wars. Star Wars is never boring, right? It's Star Wars. It'll always be cool and have a piece in culture.
Did you see The Phantom Menace?
Yeah, of course. I've seen all the.
It was
seen all the
boring.
movies.
Star Wars is not never boring.
I would say The Phantom Menace, just from nostalgic purposes in my age, The Phantom Menace was okay as a kid. As I watch it today, it is boring.
I agree.
That's what I would say.
That's nostalgia talking. Us old heads.
Exactly.
Us old heads who
That
saw
was-
the things in the movies. Yeah.
When you two went to the theater, your expectation was light sword fights, strategic military conversations, not Senate conversations.
Senate
and
conversations.
boring
It's like, what
hodgepodge.
are we watching intergalactic C-SPAN? What the crap happened
seriously.
here?
Exactly
That's
what
exactly
it was.
what happened.
And if it
So-
wasn't that, it was the same 3 with the over-the-shoulder shots of the conversation.
Right.
Don't get me started.
The win right now, though, would be Mandalorian by a mile,
Yes.
right? Like, Mandalorian is changing everything to me. It is getting me invested in the details of Star Wars again. I'm excited for season 2 of Mandalorian, but I'll tell you what, after episode 9, I was like, this is pretty boring, and it actually prevented me from starting Mandalorian.
So
People told me I got to do this.
I love the way the word that you chose just now when you said the details of Star Wars, because as a kid, and I'm born in '77, so I'm at Empire Strikes Back in the theater, and the details were never something that we bothered ourselves with early on in Star Wars. It was always like, oh, well, Anakin was your father, and then he turned to evil. We didn't know the details. We didn't need the details.
Correct.
We didn't need to know. We just knew that he did. It was kind of like previously on Star Wars, this happened, and now you're caught up. We didn't need to have we didn't need midi-chlorians. Pardon the low-hanging fruit.
For
there.
sure.
So I think that what happened is we have here's just this fantastical universe that we're just supposed to jump in and know there's implied backstory that we don't need to have the details. It's okay for Han to shoot first because Han's kind of a scoundrel. That's why he's at the Mos Eisley Cantina. We don't need to know how, forgive me, I know a lot of people like the Solo movie. I'm not a huge fan of the Solo movie, but we don't need to know that he really kind of was a lovable guy who's secretly acting like he doesn't care about anything because someone stole some vibranium from him. We don't need to know that. It's not super important to the story. But then the prequels came along, and Lucas was like, "Well, I've had 25 years to think about this, and here's all the things that I meant to say the first time, but I didn't."
But Tony, wouldn't you say though, and this is just an observation of the Star Wars culture, was that the fans telling him to do that, or along the way have Disney, have Lucas, have all these creators come in and just decided we're going to give details and background behind this, a la Lost, give an answer to the question with another question?
Okay, do you watch Food Network?
Yes.
Okay. I like watching Food Network and kind of watching the passion. I'll take it in the so we can kind of keep it in the Star
Are we
Wars.
going to Flavor Town, or are you taking me to Flavor Town?
Maybe I live in Flavortown. I am vice deputy mayor of Flavortown.
There you go.
I'm the head of the Parks Department of Flavortown. I like when I watch the Food Network and I can see these things, and you're taking me on a journey and you're showing me how some of this stuff works. I don't mind the process, but the details can sometimes be too much. I don't need to see you going and cutting the wheat and crushing the wheat and turning it into the flour to bake my bread. Just show me why bread looks good. And so sometimes the details can be just a little bit too much. And I think that what happens is we're using the same word for two different things. So details can be good, and I think that's the way that you're using the words in Mandalorian, where we're seeing the details as in we're zooming in and seeing the texture of the world. We're seeing the causative, like, hey, this happened, and because this story happened, here is the actual like fallout of what's going on. We live in a world now where those imperial officers are now crime lords, and this is sort of the texture of what happened, as opposed to the details of like, oh, you like my car? Let me explain to you about how internal combustion engines work, and you're like, no, thanks.
Well, and I think that's part of the culture, right? Like the demand from Star Wars fans who have had, as you've talked about, decades to ponder some of this. Are some of these details, are our fan theories correct? I think there were Star Wars fans that wanted those answers, and then they got them, air quotes. We'll say that loosely, because I know some people still don't even buy some of the midichlorian stuff. They just flat out ignore it and don't even consider it canon. I think culturally fans wanted those answers, didn't like what they got. And it's a parallel, as Scott talked about with the MCU. I reference that just every time I can on my show because I love it so much. But I would say that with the MCU, they've done that. They've given answers to people in ways that people liked. And for whatever reason, Disney hasn't been able to do that with Star Wars. Specifically with Rey, and that's where it was really frustrating with me with the final trilogy. That's fair,
Speaking as an older Star Wars fan. However, it's not all Disney's fault because they didn't dig themselves into the hole.
You think you look at it as Lucas dug the hole, man?
Lucas dug the hole, and Disney they're trying to dig themselves out of it. So when you're talking about fans and fan theories, yes, fans had ruminated for decades about things about Star Wars. However, what Lucas did was he gave us stuff we didn't ask for. He gave us rehashes of the original trilogy and added extra stuff that no one asked for.
For sure, yeah.
All he needed to do was re-release the original trilogy in theaters and introduce it to a new generation.
And he did do that, but then he threw a bunch of crazy CG things and
and all types of extra stuff that wasn't necessary.
Right.
And so then you started to create a separation between the new fans. Like I started a new Star Wars fan. When they came out, I asked one of my homies. He was like, no, I've never seen Star Wars. I'm like, bro, we going to the movies. Let's go. Your mom's going to take us to the movies we're going to see. He had never seen it. I grew up on it. I created a new fan. But for him, his Star Wars experience was different because I was not enjoying it as much because I was like, where's my Ewok song?
Do you like Return of the Jedi? Then you're going to love this musical number.
Yeah. And then I'm like, where's my song? What is going on? Where are these details?
Right, it's interesting you say that too, Matt, because I do think with specifically The Mandalorian, I wonder if this next generation, because I work with high school kids, right? So high school kids talk about The Phantom Menace as if that is the OG trilogy.
They do, because
it blows my mind.
Even I don't consider it that way. That's so crazy.
Not at all. Like,
but that's because they're thinking, most of your high school kids
don't even consider the original stuff. So then the question I would have is, do we see The Mandalorian kind of taking the helm from here? Because The Mandalorian and the third trilogy, are coming out around that same time frame, I would actually say. Do you think we're going to see people go, oh, The Mandalorian is really the OG, and then, all this other trilogy stuff, yeah, sure, that's a story, Jedis are a thing, but it's all about Mando. It's all about Baby Yoda. And I wonder if that's the direction it's going to go.
That's a great question, and it could be, simply because Disney has not corrected the error that George made as far as not keeping the beginning concrete. One thing about Star Trek versus Star Wars, the beginning of Trek is concrete.
Yes.
We know where the beginning is. No TOS, we know Kirk, we know Spock, we know where the beginning always is. And from there, you can draw your patterns down. With Star Wars, because we had the original trilogy, and then we had the prequels, and now we got these new 3, now we got all these other branching off stories.
Right.
And especially since the last 3 are poorly done fan service movies.
Yes.
New fans, old fans do not have a common place to meet and start the conversation about Star Wars. It's convoluted. So you've got a whole bunch of people who love, I don't understand why, but they love the prequels.
Because it's their Star Wars movies.
Because they're Star Wars movies. That's what they grew up on.
It's theirs, yeah.
It's theirs, right. So and for the sports guys, it's like LeBron versus Michael Jordan. Michael Jordan is the original from the 70s, and these new kids are looking at the prequels and saying, this is LeBron James, and this is the greatest thing. Because you're not coming from the same frame.
You just suddenly depressed me about the potential for Space Jam 2, and some people thinking,
oh man, you're right.
That's their Space Jam.
There's no need for a Space Jam 2. Like, why?
I was actually interested in that, and then now, that's a new perspective that
I don't know.
You're going to have a whole bunch of kids talk about Space Jam, and they're going to think LeBron James.
I'm going to know how OG Star Wars fans are feel at that point.
My frustration
and
is...
again, I haven't seen Clone... What you are talking about and referencing here, Matt, as the middle ground for everybody. Like the diehards just rave about this one, right? Like they just say that this is where it's at. It's made for fans by fans. And then me, who does come from a perspective of, I'm fascinated with Star Wars culture because all my friends are into Star Wars, and I think the whole
nerds.
I think the whole process is really just cool, and I love the rich history of it. But even I can come in, and I really appreciated it. I think you're onto something here, Matt, that I haven't really processed before, and that's Mandalorian is the middle ground. It's not the starting point where all these other things have been.
And it's a middle ground for one, because it's new, and 2, it's not tainted by the convoluted story of the Skywalkers.
So I think the problem is that the world is spinning a lot faster now than it was in 1977.
Bingo.
And you could come out with... nobody could imagine a world where you can come out with a trilogy of movies and then be done for 15 years.
You're totally froze.
That's awesome.
Nobody could... I'll predict what Tony's going to say.
Nobody
could imagine my giant Tony voice.
Is that what I sound like? Listen, I was just standing real still. It was my Drax the Destroyer impression. Can't see me.
Nobody could imagine what, Tony, in 1977?
Nobody could imagine making a trilogy of movies and then saying, and now we're done. And then for 15 years, there's nothing. And that's literally, we had VHS tapes and that was it. You had a couple Timothy Zahn books if you were a super nerd.
Those were some good books.
And that was it. There was no TV shows outside of holiday specials and like an Ewok anime. I mean, you didn't have anything. And then they came back with a special edition and we ate it up because it was Star Wars on the big screen, and that's great. And then the prequels came out and they tried to play by the same rules as the original one. And they got away with it. The storytelling was a little wonky. George Lucas started believing his own hype. I mean, it happened.
Sure.
It happened to Roddenberry too. Whatever.
Yeah, Roddenberry lost it at the end. Yeah.
But the thing is, now you can't do that. You've got to come out with, and they try to bring Star Wars into the Marvel motif of, we're going to make all these new movies, and then we'll do a movie, a numbered movie, and then a story movie every other year. So it'll be Star Wars Rogue One, Star Wars Solo, Star Wars the Yoda movie, Star Wars whatever. And they realized that didn't work because Star Wars doesn't necessarily fit into the Marvel, DCEU, Avatar, whatever kind of mold of you have to have new content all the time. And people demand new content all the time. They've got to have stuff.
I don't know if I even agree with that, Tony. I think people demand quality content.
Then explain the Transformers franchise.
Yeah, exactly. Well, no, I
because those movies make a buttload of money and they suck.
There's a difference though between that and Star Wars. The difference is I would defend Transformers, and here's the difference. Transformers is robot cars turning into fighting robots that fight each other and destroy buildings. That's the premise.
Star Wars is space wizards that blow up planets. No, it is.
It's not. The Star Wars has way more details to that. And even with the early ones, you nailed it. Lucas was drinking too much of Lucas's Kool-Aid. And that's the problem. And I would argue, since basically episode 6, there hasn't been a quality movie made from Star Wars or show, in my opinion, till Mandalorian came along. And
well, there's only been one. Well, yeah, if you haven't watched Clone Wars.
Well, Clone
Yeah, I
Wars
watched
and,
Clone
and,
Wars.
But I
and
think
Rebels.
that Star Wars, the thing, like it's super, like it's our cultural mythology. That's why we can continue having this conversation 40 years after its inception. That's why all 5 of us from different age ranges can be like, no, Max, you're an idiot. Like, because we get so fired up because it's our cultural narrative.
Yeah.
It's our
Yeah.
Greek mythology. It's a thing. I'm preaching this weekend. There's a good chance I'll put a Star Wars reference in there because people will get it. It'll make that connection. And this is why I think, Matt, like, I've thought a lot about this, like why Star Wars is our cultural mythology, not Star Trek, even though Star Trek has been around longer, has produced many more hours of content. It's because I think it speaks to that larger cultural narrative that is the Christ narrative of darkness to light, of redemption, of rescue, where Star Trek paints this optimistic picture of the future, but it's a future humans create on their own, where Star Wars addresses the actual internal conflict within us. So it doesn't matter if it's good or bad because it spoke to my generation, our generation. It spoke to this massive generation that said, this is my thing. This is the nerdy thing I'm about. This is what my narrative is about. This shapes so much of who I am. So even if it's a subpar movie like episode 1, episode 2, episode 9, I'm still on board because it's my language, it's my life, it's my culture. It's like, other than Christ and my family, it's the foundation for most of my life because it's my earliest memory is seeing Return of the Jedi in the theater.
While I'm here pissing Max off, I'm just going to say episode 9 was not.
You're
that
not
bad.
Scott. You're fine. You're doing fine.
Episode 9
That's
was
Scott.
not a garbage movie. Episode 9 was what it had to be.
Had to be for.
It's what it had to be. There was
So I
no
think
other way to
Disney.
land it.
So I think Disney. Shut up, Max. It's my turn.
Anyway, thanks,
So I
Scott.
think-
I'll take over from here.
So I think Disney's big misstep was just not getting J.J. Abrams. Like, they needed a Kevin Feige for the Star Wars universe,
Yes.
and it wasn't Kathleen Kennedy. I think she's great, produced stuff, awesome. They just should have had a cohesive vision for all 3 of those movies. It would have solved a lot of the problems. But again, I still love it because, like, for me, Star Wars isn't like, well, let's rank episodes 1 through 9. For me, it's just this overarching umbrella of Star Wars. I take the good, I take the bad, and there you have Blair
facts of
and
life.
Tootie. And because it's
Girls.
it's so much a part of who I
My
am
Edna
that
Care, I'm sorry.
I can't disassociate all the parts. And so for me, it's not like, well, it's the prequel trilogy, it's the Disney trilogy. It's like it's just all one big pot in which I find myself stewing.
And I wish
I've
it
committed
was
so much of my life to it.
I wish it was as simple as that, but you can't really delineate the 3 trilogies because they're all part of the same story. They're the Skywalker saga. And I wish I could. I wish I could pick and choose and renumber them and start with episode 1 through 8 and just completely cut out the Phantom Menace and maybe maybe a third of The Last Jedi. I think The Last Jedi was a well done movie, but it just didn't fit with the storyline. And the problem was this: the new trilogy had to fix errors that were made in the prequel trilogy. But that kind of larger overarching kind of let's dig out of our own hole happened again in the middle of the new trilogy. When you had Rian Johnson make his own like random Star Wars movie,
Which is beautiful, and I love The Last Jedi.
it was great, but it doesn't fit. It's like one of these kids
Which
is
one of
doing his
these?
own thing. It was completely different. And then the last movie had to spend half of its time untangling the mess that Rian Johnson made. Rian Johnson should have gotten his own trilogy. He would have made an amazing
Bingo. I
Star
agree.
Wars
Which is
trilogy.
why I think The Mandalorian, you asked the question, so what do you think of Disney's future? I think that they're going to get it right. We're going to place creative control in the right hands.
And it is. They have. His name is Dave Filoni, and he's
John
a
Favreau
genius.
and Dave Filoni. They said, John Favreau, you create. Dave Filoni, you're the spiritual successor to George Lucas that nobody hates. And so you make sure we are telling a Star Wars story, and we'll let John Favreau and Taika Waititi and the 3 other directors, I don't remember their names, I feel bad about it, we'll let each of them tell 2 of these stories, and it'll be self-contained. It'll be literally self-contained in that crazy bubble that they filmed the whole thing in. And I think Disney's really good at making money. and they know the best way to make money is by making quality content. And so they knew they could make money off of the 7, 8, 9 just because. But going to the future with Mandalorian, it had to be good. With all the other trilogies coming up, they'll have to be good. They know it has to be good if they really want to make money off of merchandise.
I want you to imagine that you go to a church, or maybe even worse, you work at a church, and if this hits close to home, then you can just deny it.
I do work at a church.
No, but imagine this particular scenario. You're at a church where you have an incredible worship pastor, like you just have a great music program, and you've got just this dynamic and amazing student ministry. It's happening. It's the one place every kid in town wants to be. But your senior pastor is a terrible leader and can't preach his way out of a wet paper bag. I think that's the picture of Star Wars. It's like the movies are stumbling and trying to figure it all out. And meanwhile, you've got like this poor little associate pastor over here and Dave Filoni going, well, what he meant to say was this. And look over here. We have free coffee in the cafe. Step over here. And you've got like these movies that they just can't underail themselves. They can't. They're dragging 43 years worth of history behind them. And
now hopefully they've released that though. So
and that's what I'm saying.
But so they have to use it. I just don't understand how
you can't separate it. The Mandalorian doesn't exist without the original trilogy.
Right.
Well, my concern is I don't understand how they made such a mess to begin with, because when you spent the $3 billion on everything tied to Lucas, you bought all the existing story, which was well written by great writers.
Sure.
All you had to do was put it into a screenplay format and find directors to make it. You didn't need to create new stories.
Agreed.
You had great stories that were already there. Like, I just don't understand how you could take such great content, disregard it, and just be like, here's this instead.
Yeah, I mean, I think it just everybody wants to make their mark. Everybody wants to be the smartest guy in the room, and that's the way that they know how to do it.
And we all know Max is the only person who can be the smartest person.
Thank you, Scott. I really appreciate that, and I will pay you later. I think also, too, this just goes to prove that Kevin Feige does something that nobody else can do, and that he can connect Marvel so well. Because for them to, I agree with you, Matt, for them to botch Star Wars that way really was kind of remarkable, honest. It was like, that felt like just such an easy, slow pitch just to come right down the middle. And I agree with you guys. The Last Jedi, I was like, man, episode 9 is about to be a killer after that. And for them not to make that connection, just... It felt like a huge missed opportunity.
It felt like we were kids whose parents just got divorced and they were like fighting over us. It was like, hey, over here, look, Rey's parents, who are they? That's really interesting. Over here, no, Rey's parents aren't anybody. Look at the kid with the broom. Okay, Luke Skywalker, he's super important. No, he's not. He's just a crazy old hobo. I hate it when mommy and daddy fight.
For sure, yeah. So.
And then you're looking at Kathleen Kennedy, and Kathleen Kennedy's just like, drink your milk.
I guess for me, as far as like the prequel trilogies, they were rough, but they hit home and they kind of set out to do what they wanted to do. Like as far as like the final moments of episode 3 for me, but then like you get into the later trilogy, and I really liked the ideas and where they started to go with episode 7. Mm-hmm. But then it's like you guys were saying with Last Jedi and just everything else. Like Tony was just saying, there's so many people trying to tell particular stories and fighting about it almost. And to me, that's where ultimately it derailed for me, was after episode 7. Even though, like you guys said, the more I watched The Last Jedi, it's really a good movie. What
do you think would have happened back in like 1983 when Return of the Jedi came out if Twitter was a thing?
I think it would have been judged more than it is. I think it would have been more critiqued and called worse than it is.
Yeah.
And I think that's part of the allure of Star Wars, the original ones, is it's passed down from generation to generation.
Sure. And it was in a generation where we loved it because it's what we had. I mean, what was the alternative was watching the original Battlestar Galactica or Buck Rogers on TV. A Star Wars movie came out and we appreciated it.
Theaters. Like, you could only go to theaters to see it. You couldn't see it on TV. You'd have to wait to see it. So
correct. You
were seeing it multiple times out of like, this is all we've got kind of in regards to content.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I saw
the only competition was Star Trek.
Yeah.
Exactly.
But we had was Star Trek reruns at that time, and then
I'm referring movies because we had
the Wrath of Khan by that time.
Oh, you had the motion picture in '79.
Yeah,
and then you had Wrath of Khan in '82. Yeah.
And we don't want to talk too much about the motion picture, but the Wrath of Khan was solid.
I mean, it's still the best sci-fi movie ever, in my personal opinion.
The motion picture or the
No,
Wrath of Khan?
Wrath of Khan.
Oh, I was like, and we're gonna go ahead and
Wait,
mute
wait.
Matt right now.
I like the motion picture probably more than most people, but I would never, ever, ever, ever say something so blasphemous. No.
One of my favorite things, Shatner wrote this, and I can't believe that Shatner wrote it. He wrote a book later on called The Return, which took place after Star Wars Generation or Star Trek Generations. So Kirk is dead. They're on Viridian 3, and there's a transporter sound, and the stones on his grave collapse, and he is taken by the Borg and reanimated as sort of the new person for the Borg collective. They take Kirk and capture him as a Borg. And this all takes place in Next Generation times. Spock, Bones, and Scotty, who are the only surviving members of the original crew in Next Generation era, hijack an old Constitution class starship and go to face the Borg to basically rescue Kirk. And so which is, whatever, kind of a funny little mission. But the best part and the most brilliant Star Trek moment that I just celebrated in my heart is when Spock went on the Borg ship and they wouldn't mess with him. Like Spock, they just wouldn't touch him. And the reason why, he tried to mind meld with one and realized he was already part of the Borg collective from when he mind melded with V'ger in Star Trek The Motion Picture. When Decker combined with V'ger, they became the first Borg.
Wow.
And my mind was blown that Shatner wrote that.
Shatner cares about the details. Look at
I'm
that.
just telling you, that to me was like that kind of justified episode or the motion picture right there. Like, we just saw the first Borg. We just witnessed the birth of a new life form.
He just really hated Decker. He's like, I'm taking your ship and I'm making you the first Borg.
He
I
must
hate
have-
you so much.
He must have known he was a child molester. That was
Exactly. What we know now, he deserved it. And what is with Seventh Heaven actors in Star Trek?
I'm just saying.
Because the woman that played his wife in Seventh Heaven was in Star Trek
She was in
4.
Star Trek 4. Yeah, there's a direct connection. It's all one shared universe. That's what it is.
There it is.
Seventh Heaven and
and
Star
the
Trek.
Camden's great grandson is, I totally blanked on his name, Zephram Cochrane.
Zephyr
So that's
Cochrane.
that's how it is. That's the direct line.
Captain, there be whales aboard. Yeah, we got it.
The crossover you didn't know you wanted.
That's exactly right. I'm still waiting for the party of 5 Farscape. That's what I want to see.
Those are some deep cuts, Tony.
That's right. A girl can dream.
And
Farscape.
why couldn't I get a Star Trek and like Simon crossover instead?
Somebody said, I don't remember who it was. Was it Patrick Stewart? Somebody said they would love to see a Star Trek Star Wars crossover on Twitter this week, and it was like, yeah, that's never gonna happen.
There was a commercial of Patrick Stewart and Mark Hamill like fighting each other with lightsabers. I didn't watch it because I didn't click on the link.
Yeah, I only want to see, the only crossover I want to see is Patrick Stewart and Ian McKellen. That's the only one I accept. We got a lot we've talked about, and with all of our talking tonight, we're just about out of time. So I'm going to wind this thing down. What is your favorite Star Wars video game? I know, Matt, you said you played Star Wars games. Favorite Star Wars video game?
Matt or Max?
Oh, Matt or Max. You know what? Fight over it.
Oh, I didn't know which one you said. That's
Yeah,
all.
no, sorry. We've only got one opening. We're having tryouts.
You go first, Matt.
Matt Williams.
Can Matt hear us?
Say that again.
Favorite Star Wars game?
Internet delayed for
That's all right.
favorite Star Wars game.
I'm just gonna assume it's all the people that are tweeting about the presidential debate that just happened, ruining
They are
everyone's
not happy.
Matt Williams, what's your favorite Star Wars movie, or excuse me, video game?
It's probably going to be a collective one, but it's Knights of the Old Republic. It's by far my favorite.
Tour.
Is that the safe answer?
It's probably the safe answer, but it's my genuine, I play that game at least once a year.
Okay.
I own it on the original Xbox. I own it on my MacBook. I think I have it on iOS as well. I love Knights of the Old Republic.
Nice. All right, it's a perfectly cromulent answer. Max.
Oh, it's Star Wars Battlefront on the old Xbox. So I would go to people's houses and play this game all the time.
Mm-hmm.
Just an absolute blast. You could kill as many of those stormtroopers as you wanted. It was just an absolute treat. You didn't
So
feel bad at all.
Max has told us he's really smart and he had friends in high school. So that's got me beat already, man. Jeez, this guy.
I have not said I'm really smart. I've just said I'm really right. There's a big difference.
I feel like we are watching the presidential debate right now.
And nobody wins.
The wrath of Scott. Scott!
Scotty, what's your favorite Star Wars video game? Oh yeah, you don't play video games.
No, but from what I did, my favorite all-time Star Wars video game is TIE Fighter.
Okay.
Ooh,
Oh yeah.
very
yeah,
old PC flight simulator. It is such a great game.
That actually sounds awesome.
What do you think, LJ? Favorite Star Wars game?
It's been going around in my mind ever since we started this conversation, but I would have to say it's Battlefront 1 and 2. I played a lot offline, especially with a buddy of mine, and eventually played online. So fun fact, actually, that's loosely where my screen name and Twitter handle comes from, is because there was like a rank or like a emblem or something you can get at the end of a match, and it was called War Hero, because it was a thing to where you'd nearly be dead. Your whole team would nearly be defeated, but if you capture a base and save the team and go for the victory, you get like a War Hero title or whatever. And so I just thought that sounded cool. And back in the day when we were all figuring out our goofy screen names, I decided it was going to be War Hero, and I eventually kept it because PlayStation didn't let you change your name for a long time. So as I got more involved in social media, I was like, well, I can't really change it anywhere, and I don't want to confuse people, so I just ran with it.
Yeah, it could have been way worse. I'm just telling
I
you.
just
That's an
recently
awesome name,
upgraded
LJ.
my Xbox gamer tag from Scooter 2000, which was my first AOL email address.
I was trying not to laugh at you, man. I was
man,
I-
Scooter 2000. Back in 1998, when I came with my email address.
That's the future is now, baby.
It
Pass me a
was.
can of Surge. We're going
In the
nuts here.
year 2000. Yep. I recently upgraded it to just Scott Higa.
I signed up for PlayStation Network without knowing what PlayStation Network was. I was trying to
Oh.
download a game for my PSP, and I didn't know that was going to be a thing that we would live or die by. So
Right.
I just put in my my email address, which was S Talavera. That's my legal first initial and
Okay.
my last name. And I didn't care. I just wanted to buy Crash Bandicoot for $5 for my PSP.
Right.
And then when I got my PlayStation 3, I'm like, oh, sign up for PlayStation Network. I put in my email address, and it was like, oh, you already have an account. You are S. Talavera. And I didn't want to change it because I had a $5 Crash Bandicoot purchase that I
Right.
didn't want to void. So I kept that stupid, awful name for years and years and years until they finally let me change it. Now I'm the Tonyt, which I don't know that that's any better, but at least it wasn't S. Talavera.
Yeah.
Which is
creative.
my wife's initials, and I think people used to think that I was my wife playing games.
Well, it was probably an excuse for why you were dying then. Like, oh, no, that wasn't me.
That's
My
just-
wife
it's-
was playing.
Yeah, that wasn't me. No, it's because I'm really bad at online competitive games. That's why I got rid of my Xbox 360. I was getting tired of being beaten by little girls on Halo. My favorite Star Wars game, I used to love, and I know it's a terrible game now, but again, back in the day, pre-prequels, this is what we had. I used to play Star Wars Masters of the Terrascasi on my PlayStation 1, which was a Star Wars fighting game. If you
It's like Star Wars Tekken.
It's awful. It wishes it was Star Wars Tekken. It's more
Yeah,
like
that's
Star
true.
Wars Battle Arena Toshinden. It was
Oh, that's a deep
it was
cut.
so janky. And they had a bunch of
Wow.
characters on there that I don't even know that they exist in the Star Wars universe anymore, but they had characters on there like Jodo Cast, characters on there like Mara Jade. I mean, cool,
Mara Jade is a book character, I believe.
yeah, Jodo Cast is too. And anyway, Jodo Cast was just a color swap Boba Fett. But my favorite Star Wars game I love for the GameCube was Rogue Leader. I love flying in the Star Wars universe. It was just great. The minute they
Great
got me on Hoth, I was just so happy.
So
I don't know how many times I've played Take Down the Walkers on Hoth in a Star
Don't
Wars
care.
video game,
Oh,
but it's
yeah.
not enough.
It's
Yeah,
not enough.
I could play it in every single Star Wars game. Like, this is awesome.
every day.
So I have a question for you guys. Are you guys excited for the upcoming Star Wars Squadrons?
Oh yeah.
Yes.
I'm actually going to be doing the review for that on Geeks Under Grace, so I'm purchasing it Friday to review that. So that's going to be
Nice.
exciting.
This is the thing about Star Wars Squadrons. I'll take this into a moral, ethical situation here. The Star Wars used to be, and I'm going back to my old man, in a more sophisticated time. Star Wars used to be good guys, bad guys. You have the Jedi, and we didn't even have the word Sith back then. You had to be a real nerd to know
dark
what
side.
that was. But you had the dark side. You had good guys and bad guys. You had the Obi-Wan and Luke. Over here you have Vader and the Emperor. We didn't know what a Palpatine was back then either. A lot of things you kids take for granted these days. Now kids are like, his name's Sheev Palpatine. It's like, shut up, nerd. But it was simple good guys, bad guys. It was a morality thing. Along the way, we have really muddied those waters a little bit, and you see this happen for the first time kind of in the prequels, but it really fleshes out a lot in the Clone Wars, where you have this ambiguity of, are the Jedi really, really good guys?
It's a gray area.
It's a gray area. And then you have a lot of bad guys that become super sympathetic bad guys. And it wasn't the redemption of Darth Vader, but there's times that I'm going, you know what? I kind of get where Darth Maul's coming from. Seriously. You know what? Asajj Ventress, I kind of understand a little bit what her deal is. Even Count Dooku, the worst named character in the Star Wars universe. Dooku?
We used to nickname him Count Dookie on Battlefront.
Well, obviously. I mean, what else would you name him? You kind of get an idea of there's these sympathetic vibes of I kind of understand where these characters are coming from. And now when you get into the current the First Order, you never see why the Emperor is doing the right thing. The Emperor is just evil for evil's sake and shooting lightning out of his hands. But when it comes to the First Order, you're kind of going, no, I sort of get it. The rebels really leave a lot of mess in their wake, and all these guys want to do is just put it right and make it make sense. And you see Rogue One, and they don't even bother trying to glorify the resistance or the rebellion. I mean, they're just like, hey, these guys are all kind of just they do whatever they need to do. And now when we look at this new Star Wars game that's coming out, as you just mentioned, LJ, we definitely have a sympathetic vibe. If you watch the trailer for that, I am rooting for the dude in the TIE fighter.
Yeah.
Do we see now that Star Wars is a reflection of the time in the fact that there are no more good guys and bad guys in Star Wars, that we are really kind of being branded to sympathize with characters on either side, or disdain good guys and bad guys?
It sounds like you got a Daily Devo in the making there.
Yeah. And is that a reflection of our culture?
Yeah, totally.
Scott, what do you think about that?
With the anti-hero. The anti-hero was the cool thing.
Scott, what do you think about that, given your your thoughts earlier on what you said with you love this redemptive Christ-like arc with Star Wars? I think everybody in this chat likes that about it, but you brought it up.
He's a little lukewarm on it. He's like,
Yeah, I know.
I like my Christ figures without a breathing apparatus.
Was that a pun? Did you lukewarm? Is that like a?
Yeah.
I think that I think we do live in a more relativistic time of there's no absolute. Everyone says I'm going to speak my truth, which is
more
an oxymoron. It's like I don't have my truth. Truth is an objective reality.
Right.
So I think it is a reflection of the times in which we live, but also the First Order lost. I think ultimately we still, even though we have this relativistic nature, this relativist that running through all of society, deep down we still want good to win. We still want the First Order to be defeated. We still want Gandalf to show up at Helm's Deep and defeat the Uruk-hai. Our souls still sing for that. I think there's more layers on top of it, which those of us in ministry have to be trained and equipped to kind of peel back those layers to reflect the actual truth, the actual reality of the universe, to say why your soul sings when the resistance shows up on Takodana? It's because your heart is crying out for rescue. So there's a lot more layers on that we have to unpack as cultural kind of archaeologists, cultural spelunkers, as it were. But I think the core is still same. There's just more layers that we have to unpack in this relativistic season in which we find ourselves.
Because one day Jesus is coming back in our own personal battle of Exegol, and he'll have space horses too.
Yeah.
And
I want to see Jesus riding a horse up. Here he comes, glorious in white, riding on a Star Destroyer.
That's how Scott envisions his Jesus when sitting
White.
on the table at
How dare you!
There it is.
Oh man,
his Jesus. You heard it here first.
It's not necessarily a simple story of good guys and bad guys anymore. Even you say the First Order still loses, but who is the First Order? I mean, it's Kylo Ren. We want to see. I would take it even a step further. We're still split. People get mad. Should Kylo Ren have turned good? Should he have not turned good? Should he have kissed Rey? I think we can all agree that him kissing Rey was weird.
Him kissing Rey was weird, but I feel like his redemption arc is the best part of that entire trilogy.
I think so, but we wanted it so bad.
Yes, that's
and that,
true.
to Scott's point, that's the thing is we have a genetic, like it's a hardwired expectation for redemption, a desire for redemption.
Where does that come from?
Yeah, and it's straight exactly what God puts in us.
I'm just mad that they dissed my boy Finn. That's all I got to say.
Yeah.
For real.
Finn didn't even get to finish a sentence in that movie. I want to tell you something. What do you want to tell? Does not now. Not for now, Finn.
Yeah, Finn was disrespected. I agreed completely.
Yeah.
And that was the problem, I think, with the last movie, which I didn't hate, but you had a movie to make up for two movies. It's like it was almost the narrative version of when you're writing on a piece of paper, but you didn't judge how long the line was, and you got to kind of cram the last couple letters in there with a little hook on it. You had to undo so much from 8 that 9 just didn't have time, and then you had to make sure that you got Leia in it and that her lines made sense. And nobody's going to be mad that they didn't, because we know what they had to work with, and we respect that. And then, I don't know that you needed to spend so much time on fake killing Chewbacca, but here we all are. Last question. What's your favorite Star Wars toy? Everybody here had Star Wars toys growing up.
Can I go first on this one?
Matt, I wish you would, Matthew.
All right, hold on.
Oh, he's going to get it.
Yeah, no, there it is. Yep,
He's going to get it.
Wow.
Okay.
Nice.
Let me tell you, I bought that for my son for Christmas. You can't hear me. You got your headphones on.
I can hear you.
Oh, I bought that for my son for Christmas when it first came out. That is the baddest Star Wars toy ever made.
That's awesome.
My parents got me this for Christmas. I think it was 23 years old. I was in my early 20s, but I was like, you know what? I want this R2-D2.
Yeah.
Sharper Image has it. In Sharper Image, they charge everything like an extra $200. So I definitely couldn't afford it. And they got it to me for Christmas. I've had it since. So I've had them for at least 15-something years.
Voice activated.
Yes, voice
You
activated.
can talk to him and program him. You can. He'll like.
Yeah.
He's like a Roomba.
Yeah, he voice commands. He plays games.
Mhm.
He sings and he'll play the cantina music and dance.
Mhm.
I can even have him bring me a pop.
Yeah, the little arms, the armatures come out on him like real deal.
That's cool.
I can open up a little compartment here where his arm is.
And there were so many things they didn't tell you about that you could discover
On there.
by asking him questions. He would react different ways. You'd say, "Hey, Art, you remember Luke Skywalker?" And he'd get all happy.
Yep, and you say Darth Vader, he'll
He'd go,
scream.
"Ah!" and he'd back up. Yeah,
Yep.
really cool toy.
Super,
You say
super.
Jar Jar Binks and he short circuits and explodes.
That's what it is. Yeah, he just points at you and laughs and turns his back and walks away.
Oh,
Exactly.
woof.
Very cool. I salute. That's a great answer. Great answer. Max, what's your favorite Star Wars toy?
So a couple years ago, we got to go to not Galaxy's Edge that just got made, because I know you can do the whole lightsaber thing, but I got to build a lightsaber out there.
Nice.
And so I would put that as my toy, but I haven't been yet, but on my bucket list is to go get that lightsaber at Galaxy's
At
Edge.
Savi's workshop.
Oh,
yeah.
I got to do it. I don't care what the dollar amount is.
That's
to
the
pay
one
for
reason
it.
I want to go as well.
It's 200.
It doesn't matter. It really doesn't. The experience is worth it. It looks fantastic, and
They
the stories
have
I've heard are amazing.
they have replica lightsabers there. So basically any
That's
lightsaber
ridiculous.
that you want to get, you can
Yeah.
you can get. And you buy the hilt and then you buy the blade separately. So the blade is interchangeable. So if you only want to buy one blade, and it will light up whatever color is appropriate for the hilt.
I
you
love
put
it.
in. And
I love
you can
it.
get everything from, you can get Ahsoka's blades, you can get Darth Maul, you can get Kylo Ren, you can get basically whatever blades you want to, even the Temple Guardian, the golden blades. Like
That's
you
amazing.
they are amazing. But down in Savi's workshop, you get to pick out your Kyber crystal and put it
Yeah.
in.
I just think that whole experience is really brilliant.
It's brilliant.
And it's like you're charging me $190 more than I should
You're
be charged,
paying
but
for
I
the
don't care.
experience and the product, not just the
Bingo.
product.
Yeah, that's
So-
well worth it.
I'll name drop a little bit. Last time I was at Galaxy's Edge, I ran into an old friend of mine. His name is Joey Fatone. He was part of NSYNC. And we went to high school together, so we've
That's
been friends
awesome.
for a long time. Yeah, and bye. And he was down there, and we were talking about Star Wars because he's a giant Star Wars fan. I mean, he's got a lightsaber tattooed on his finger. He one of the first things he did when he made a lot of money was have like life-size prop replicas of Star Wars things made for himself. And he was there buying all the lightsabers. So he's like, yeah, I'm on 5. We're just we just get one every time we come out here. And,
Wow.
And I'm just going, gosh, I hate you so much, but I want that life right now. I just want all the lightsabers.
I think
Yeah,
you missed your
I've had-
opportunity to be in a boy band, Tony. I'm sorry to break this to
I
you.
never had the opportunity to be in a boy band. My
Not even
talent
Menudo?
level- my talent, not even like post Ricky Martin Menudo.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, but to me, I see those things and I'm like, I'm so envious because I can't drop $200 a pop for those lightsabers. But God, I wish I could.
The lightsaber's cool, but I'll tell you what, Matt might be. I did not know that R2D2 toy existed till just now, and
Yeah,
now
same.
I'm starting to lean on Matt's toy might be the victor here. So my answer was going to be a lightsaber, but I will tip my hat to Matt and say his is the best so far.
And now that toy is probably like 13 or 14 years old. So good luck finding it.
Brilliant. That's even better.
Yeah, it's tough to find.
Yes. LJ, what's your favorite Star Wars toy?
I tried to think. I've had so many over the years. Lightsabers was going to be one of them, but because I have so many memories of playing with my brother and my cousin. But the ones I think I find the most fascinating is. So I got these action figures. It was around the time Episode 2 came out. I think it was even before the Clone Wars animated show came out, the one that Genndy Tartakovsky worked on. And so it was action figures of Asajj Ventress and I forget the name of the character in that one, but he was like this regenerative like Mandalorian character. I think his name was like Dirge or something. And so they were actual, like, I didn't know who these characters were. And so I was like, oh, these are interesting. And so they didn't look like the cartoon versions of them. They were like as if they looked at like an actor or a character model and like made them in the style of like an actual Star Wars movie.
Okay.
And so later I found out, oh, those characters are in the show. And so later I found out through the Netflix documentary, The Toys That Made Us, that, that company that makes the action figures, they just literally churn out, the most randomest characters. So I found those interesting because it's like they probably didn't even plan to put them in the movies. They always had planned them for that Clone Wars thing. But I just found that out interesting because, there was these characters that I never knew about. And then later I found out they actually got used in something. So, I don't know, it was just fascinating to me. Like, they were probably the most random Star Wars toys I ever bought, but it was neat to actually see those characters in, something that they created.
Nice. Yeah, that's very cool.
Yeah.
Scotty, what do you think, man? Close us out.
I would love to have a different answer than my dear friend Max, but freaking lightsabers, like they're like, and that's the, like anything, like oh, I've got a broomstick, heck that, I got a lightsaber.
Yeah.
Oh, I've got a mop. I've got a cardboard tube that had wrapping paper on it. I've got a lightsaber. I mean, anything could be a lightsaber. But when I was, because they started coming out with them in 1999 when Episode 1 came out, and I was in high school, and you could buy Darth Maul's lightsaber, and it was the crappy ones that extended and they broke all the time, but it didn't matter.
It didn't
because
matter.
you had the whole time I was a child, it was a cardboard too as lightsaber.
Right.
Now, like, I have like an actual lightsaber, and then they have like the really, like, my cousin, my brother-in-law has, I think, Luke's legitimate kind of like where it's the glass tube and it lights up. I
Yeah.
think the
The
Galaxy
Force
but,
effects ones or whatever.
yeah, there's nothing cooler than a lightsaber.
Yeah.
I mean,
Right.
if
I
I
agree.
could ride a hoverboard while swinging around a lightsaber, my life would be.
Yeah.
If you put the power glove on while you were doing that, we would all have to cancel our shows and come work for you.
For real.
There is the one true king has arrived.
Nintendo should redo the Power Glove, but just make it look like the Infinity Gauntlet.
They should. I don't know why they haven't thought about that yet.
Because the
$1
power
million
glove is
idea.
trash, and it will always.
I was
Power
going to
glove
say,
is
I think I
trash.
heard this discussion somewhere, and it was on Infinity Bros.
It was. Max didn't bother
I
to
was
show
like-
up, so he might.
I was like, that
I
sounds
wasn't
familiar.
there. I wasn't there. Didn't want to be there.
Yeah, I always
Great.
loved. To me, my favorite Star Wars toy, and it's not complicated, it's not crazy, but I loved it as a kid. It captured my imagination, and to me, it's still my favorite today. I love the AT-AT. I just think it's a really cool toy. It looks cool. It feels cool.
Yeah.
It's just a great thing to have. It's big. It towers over your action figures, and I'm looking at mine right now. It's still the center of my Star Wars collection. So cool. We have a lot more that we were going to talk about tonight, but my goodness, we've been chatting here for about 17 hours. So it's got to even be bedtime out there in the West where Scotty is. And
Getting
thank you
close,
guys.
but that's because I'm old.
Well, you are. You're old. It's not the age. It's the mileage, my friend. So, Real quick, we end our shows. I like to ask 5 questions of our guests. Since we have 5 guests, I'll just ask each of you a question, if that's okay. And here we go. We'll start with Scott Higa. Scotty, if they were making a musical about your life, who would you want to write the songs?
I was kind of hoping you wouldn't ask me this question because I feel it's the most embarrassing answer that I have. But I would like Kylie Minogue to write the music to my.
That's not a bad.
Now I'm glad I asked you because I thought you were going to say Celine Dion for sure.
Oh,
Yeah, I mean Celine's great, but Kylie's got more like you can dance to Kylie's.
She's got more flash, more pop to her.
Yeah.
Anybody else want to throw their answer in on this one? All right, good deal.
I put
Yeah.
Jamie Foxx just because I know it would be a banger, and I know that he can do anything. He literally can do anything.
Except for play a Spider-Man villain. So
That's not his fault.
I'd have to say Stevie Wonder on that for me.
Stevie Wonder. Okay.
I don't
Did
see it.
not see that coming.
I don't see it.
Ah!
Dang. LJ, while we're here. No.
I didn't really have a good answer for it.
Okay, then we'll skip you. All right, so what's something... waste our time on it if it's not good.
I love it.
What's something nerdy that you wish more people appreciated, LJ?
Gametography, like Lem. I actually found that community through the podcast that you had him on not too long ago, and his Gametographer's community, and it's something I just done for fun, like over the years, and it pleases me to know that there's a community around that, and that like I found one to be a part of. And so most people are actually like legitimately like, dude, how do you do this? But then there's the people who are like, oh yeah, that's cool, but it's just like there's actually like a lot that goes into it, and so it's like I think it's neat that people were able to create an art form out of what I would consider an art form.
And I've seen some of the stuff that you guys do, and it's pretty amazing. I mean, that just doesn't happen. It doesn't just like, it's not about pushing the pause button at the right time. It really is about finding those moments and capturing some great content. Lem was supposed to be here with us tonight. He had some family stuff that came up and he couldn't be with us, but Lem is awesome. If you guys follow him at Bad Gamer Elite on Twitter, he's got some great posts that you guys will want to check out. He also hosts a podcast called God Games and Geekery, and we definitely recommend you check out his devos. He is worth the follow.
Yeah.
So we love Lem. Sorry that he couldn't be here tonight. We'll save it for next time. What do you think? What if you could give one movie a do-over and let it be remade but good this time? What would it be, Matt Williams?
Wow, that's a lot to pick. I'm going to pick a very obscure movie. Leonard Part 6.
Oh my gosh. Would you bring back Bill Cosby to be in it?
Well, he's like 90, so and in jail. So
yes.
I don't think that's going to go very well. But
I thought your first reservation was his age, not his current incarceration.
Well, I mean, hey, people come in jail and come out. Hey, look, Robert Downey Jr. is famous again, so who knows?
Heard that.
Martha Stewart. I mean,
Martha Stewart. You know, I mean, Martha's got jail time, and her co-host Snoop don't. So who knows?
So most people probably don't know the brilliant comedy of Leonard Part 6, the springboard from which we got Ghost Dad. Leonard Part 6 was a spy movie, like a secret
a spy parody where Bill Cosby plays Leonard, and he has a tank car that's camo with an actual turret on the car. It's a funny but still a bad movie.
It's a bad movie.
I mean, there's a dinner scene where he gets salad dumped on his head. It's off, but there's some comedic parts to it. But it would be funny if they had a straight man with some comedic talent play it.
Who would you cast?
Honestly, I would cast Idris Elba.
Love it.
Wow.
Love it.
And I would cast him because he doesn't want to play Bond, and it would be fun to have him have a little
perfect.
fun in that movie while not being Bond.
That's perfect. Would you just call it Leonard Part 7?
Yes. Yeah, I probably would, because there was never 1 through 5.
There was never 1 through 5. That was the joke.
Interesting.
And people didn't get it. There was Leonard Part 6 was just, that was it.
That was it.
Yeah. Yeah, like it was sort of the opposite of Remo Williams, The Adventure Begins, and that was also the end of the adventure of Remo Williams. Yeah. All right, and I guess we will go ahead and say, Max, what is your one desert island video game?
So I'd probably say
Kingdom Hearts.
Okay, first of all, if you listen to my podcast, Kingdom Hearts is a popular answer. That was my answer for question number 2 on what people should appreciate more with geekery.
I would love to appreciate it more. I'm going to need you to give me like explanation on what the story is for Kingdom Hearts.
Okay, so Kingdom Hearts, yeah, we're
not here, not now.
I was going to say you're going to need another 2-hour podcast for us to get through that.
I was just told Final Fantasy and Disney had a baby, and then
we'll need about 3.8 more parts to get that done after that.
3.8 over 625.
If only somebody could drop my dreams some measure of distance.
Oh my gosh, yeah, I really do value Kingdom Hearts, but I do see the deficiencies. I want other people to know that. I want to
value it.
LJ, I want you to value it with me.
I value it with you, Max. I'm a
Let's
big
go, Max. Let's go. No, I was either going to say the two. I was kind of up in the air because I was thinking of a game I'd have to only one game to play forever. So my friends know I love to play Rocket League. I play that religiously, but I'd also say Super Smash Brothers Melee.
Okay.
Those are 2 games that I feel like I can get a lot of repetitions in. I don't want to choose a story game if I'm going on an island, to be honest, because I don't want to be done with it after that.
Right.
I'd like it to continue going if I need to use it. If I need to use and play it for a while, I would like to get as many repetitions.
That's why my answer would have been Marvel vs. Capcom 2 because of the versatility in all the combinations of teams and stuff.
You could pick a story game. If you picked a Kojima game, like let's say Metal Gear 5, you would be rescued by the time the first cutscene was over.
Shots fired.
That's true.
Now, if I got the whole Kingdom Hearts series,
yeah,
that's a different conversation.
They sell that in a package now.
Yeah.
That's true. Does it count as one game? I think that's up to Tony to say. But
I'll allow it.
Then it's Kingdom Hearts. But for the sake of the bit, I'll go Super Smash Bros.
Okay, not bad. Well, this is the last question, and I'll present this to everybody. Can I get a scripture of encouragement? Let's leave here giving people a little spring in their step, a little song in their spirit. Let's get something from the Word of God for them, and we'll start with LJ.
Mine is what I would call my life scripture, and it's 1 Peter 5:8-9. Be alert and of sober mind. Your enemy, the devil, prowls around like a roaring lion looking for someone to devour, but resist him, standing firm in the faith, because you know there are others out there who are going through the same kind of sufferings. And that's kind of what keeps me saved all the time.
Yeah.
Just knowing there's others out there.
We're all in this together.
Mm-hmm.
And everything the light touches is our kingdom. That's the wrong lion. Wrong lion. Max.
Uplifting to me, but maybe not so much as much to other people, but hopefully it gives you encouragement from Paul. Colossians 4:3-6, and pray for us too that God may open a door for our message, so that we may proclaim the mystery of Christ, for which I'm in chains. Pray that I may proclaim it clearly as I should. Be wise in the way you act toward outsiders. Make the most of every opportunity. Let your conversation always be full of grace, seasoned with salt, so that you may know how to answer.
That's awesome. Good verse, man. Good word. Scotty Higa, you read your Bible?
Yo. Once in a while. Only when I'm preparing for a devotional like I am tomorrow. And so this comes from that. It's Matt. Yeah. I think it's Mark. I don't know. I put Matthew. I think I meant Mark. I don't know. Either way, I think it's Mark. It's the healing of Jairus' daughter. And Jesus says to him, overhearing what they said, Jesus told him, don't be afraid, just believe. And there's lots of reasons to fear. Number one on the list might be the debate that happened this evening. But don't be afraid, just believe. Believe in God's goodness, believe in his love for us, believe in the purpose and the values and the intention that he has for your life.
Rock and roll. That's good. Matt Williams, you have the last word.
I'm getting ready.
It's in John. Jesus wept.
I got
Say
worried.
it again, sir. Say it again.
Matt, I got worried. I thought the Gatorade bottle was going to come up there for a second. I was getting ready to buckle in.
Don't get me started.
Welcome to the altar call, kids.
Mine is Isaiah 41:10. Have no fear, for I am with you. Be not afraid, for I am your God. I will strengthen you and give you help and uphold you with my righteous right hand.
Yeah. Amen. Amen. Well, listen, I pray that you guys would continue to be blessed in everything that you do. What you do is so important. Podcasts are such a valuable and vital part of the conversation. It's a great way for people to listen along, to feel like they're talking with friends, to join in a community of people. And when you're speaking, everything that you do, obviously we do for the glory of God, but whether you're talking about games or comic books or sci-fi, or whether we're talking Christian hip-hop, or whether we're talking about your favorite sports and you're jeeking along as one does, I just pray that not only would you engage with people's fandom, but you would also inspire their faith, and that the light of Christ would shine through everything you do. I mean, I just pray for blessings, for increased influence, for all the prosperity that you can get if you got a Patreon, or if you're selling T-shirts, or you're trying to rebuild a website, or whatever it is.
You got 11,000 people in your Facebook group. You got to thin that herd because
it's the Wild West.
Yeah,
we
had to thin it.
I just pray that God would give you favor in everything that you do. And if you haven't already, if you're listening to this, please go over, give a listen, hit the subscribe button. Even if you only listen every now and again, subscribing is so important. Leaving reviews is so important. We like stars, especially when they come in 5s. And if I'm not mistaken, if you leave a good review, they'll even talk about you on the Infinity Bros. If you leave a bad
Also,
review,
if you leave a bad review, they talk about it.
We will. We're looking for bad reviews, so please come give us a bad review.
Don't do that. Give them good reviews. But it's so important that we support each other. That's why we do this in this environment. We want to make sure that we're not just on islands in and of ourselves, that we're not somehow siloed out where it's your thing, my thing, their thing, but really it is all our thing, because we're all one family together. So I'm grateful for each of you guys. I'm so honored to meet some of you guys here. I mean, I know Scotty, but this is our first time really talking in person. LJ, Matt, and Max. So thank you. We'd love to have you guys back in the near future, and we want to do this regularly. So listen to Geeks Under Grace. Listen to the Infinity Bros. Not an explicitly Christian podcast, but they don't really do a great job at hiding their faith on Infinity Bros. Listen to the Breaking Ring Rust. Is that it, Matt?
Yes, that's the pro wrestling one, and the original
Jeek
Jeek podcast.
The original Jeek podcast, and of course, the Christian Nerd, Godfather to us all. So my name is Tony T for the Nerd of Godcast, or whatever it is that we are now. We love you. We bless you. Like, share, and subscribe. Until next time, we ain't got to go home, but we can't stay here.
Yeah.
You can definitely tell who's never made it to the end of one of our episodes before. It's you and you and you.
Bye.
I ain't making it to the end of this one.